Your borders are at home and said they can be deported together.
Correct.
Is that the plan?
Well, that way you keep the
you keep the family together.
I don't understand why that's funny. If you want to say like, hey, I think that's the right way to go, it's a deterrent. But why is it funny? Why is it funny to you that we would separate children from their families? I don't understand.
The inventor has some intentions. Yeah, it's pretty obvious, you know, that she's not a fan of Trump.
Just asking him questions. She's a reporter doing her job, asking questions. She barely pushes back. Why do you think that she doesn't like him?
Why are you even trying? Why not just like do a real interview? You're never ever getting people like this to say that you're doing a good job.
It's like what he's saying is meant to sound really reasonable, but at the end of the day, it's going to be heard how it's going to be heard by different people. If you're an insane conspiracy theorist and you listen to Asmongold, you're going to think that like he agrees with you on your insane conspiracy theory shit, and that any reasonable point that he makes is just him trying to make sure that he doesn't upset the matrix. But then if you're a reasonable person, you listen to some of the shit he says, like some of it's a little outlandish, but I kind of understand where he's coming from, and that's like the entire point of Asmongold talking. It's so bizarre. All right, guys, let's pop into this. This looks interesting. It's Destiny, I guess, reacted to Asmongold reacting to the Trump interview. Wow, what an inception. Incredible stuff. Anyway, apparently Asmongold loves Trump too much. I don't really know. We're going to just check it out, man. I'm curious. Something to have a little bit of fun to. I will say one thing. We watched that. We reacted to that. You can see my full reaction to that if you want. I don't think we're getting the full reaction to it, which is fine with me because I don't want to watch the whole thing again. But anyway, I thought it, I mean, like, yeah, I guess it was a softball interview, probably. But it was the first time in a long time I've seen Trump act like a normal person, so that was refreshing. So I'll give him that. So I think the world is healing a little bit. We're all chilling a little bit. So yeah, let's see what we got here, and let's just see what we got here. Let's take it easy. Let's have a nice time. Let's play Path of Exile 2. It's called Asmongold Gets Triggered by Softball Trump Interview. Okay.
She's being so obnoxious. She's trying to eat.
Sorry.
She's being so obnoxious. She's trying to eat. You see, like, she's trying to get him mad.
What happened?
What? I don't remember that.
Happened to the party of facts over feelings. She's trying to trigger him by bringing up a fact.
inexpensive.
He's right about that. The thing, he's right.
To
Kill me.
I used to think Canadian healthcare was really bad until I asked a few people, and then they all told me, like, no, it's fine. I've been. I hate my life.
Oh, that's all it takes. I mean, that's my understanding. Is it's not that bad. So
I'm the problem. It's because I'm autistic. This is why you should feel bad if you're in the mainstream media. You should also feel bad because you're doing all this work just to try to get them to respect you, and they won't. Asmongold doesn't give a fuck that this is one of the most soft. This isn't even softball. This is t-ball. This is one of the most t-ball interviews I've ever seen in my fucking life. Ooh. Bro, I saw this title. There's no way Asmongold listened to this and thought this was a good interview, right? There's no possible way.
I feel silly because I thought it was a decent interview. Honestly. Trump was more relaxed than usual. He might have been getting treated like a kid a little bit. Let's be real. You know, he's a little sensitive, but it was nice that everything was kind of relaxed. He seemed more relaxed than usual, a little less in his insanity. So I thought it was kind of good. But
Here we go.
4 million families in America who have mixed immigration status. So I'm talking about parents who might be here illegally, but the kids are here legally. Your borders are
You're talking about separation?
Yeah, well, I mean, there are two aspects to this. Your borders are at home and said they can be deported together.
Correct.
Is that the plan?
Well, that way you keep the
You keep the family together.
I don't understand why that's funny. I mean, like, listen, if you want to say like, hey, I think that's the right way to go, because if you keep the families there, the illegal families there with their legal kid, that would incentivize more people to come over and have their kid here, like to make their kid like have American status, an American citizen, and then we'll be nice to you and let you stay. That's fine. Hey, it's a deterrent to kick them all out. But why is it funny? Why is it funny to you that we would separate children from their families? I don't understand. Yeah, it's. There's being firm and then there's being insensitive. And like laughing about this is just pathetic.
He just don't give a fuck anymore, man.
Why is this funny?
I want to be breaking up families. So.
Yeah.
You remember when I said before, there's like this weird phenomenon of
Why is that funny? I don't understand. That's just like I don't mean to be like sensationalized or anything, but that's just disgusting. I'm not trying to be like that all riled up, but that's just disgusting to laugh at that. I don't understand. I don't get it. That's just it's just disgusting. Like what kind of a fucking loser are you? Do you just hate your parents that you don't really care if you got separated from your parents as a child? Could you imagine getting separated as a child from your parents? Like, I don't understand. You know, there's no humanity in this at all.
I don't know how to explain it, but
Every time. I'm from Kentucky.
it's like this thing where, like, even when you're kind of like making fun of Trump, it's like not, it just doesn't come off that way. Like, it's always funny and it never feels malicious, even if it is kind of like mean.
And then all you don't have to sound like him. All you have to do is like get his cadence down.
I feel like if Kamala was sitting here answering a question about like trans stuff, Asmongold would just be, it would be like a 45-minute rant about how out of touch and enraged he is, or he's like enraged about how out of touch like the Democrats are on trans issues. But like Trump can say shit like, yeah, I'm probably just going to deport all the people that I don't like. And it's like, oh my God. Oh.
The only way you don't break up the family is you keep them together, and you have to send them all back.
Even kids who are here legally?
Well, what you going to do if they want to stay with the father? Look, we have to have rules and regulations. You can always find something out like, you know, this doesn't work, that doesn't work. I'll tell you what's going to be horrible. When we take a...
Like we're suggesting about the deportation of U.S. citizens here.
Yeah, that's pretty intense.
Doesn't even make sense. Like what I just said you can't deport a citizen. They would literally be stateless people. It doesn't even make sense.
wonderful young woman who's with a criminal. And they show the woman, and she could stay by the law, but they show the woman being taken out, or they want her out.
Well, I mean, the concept would be like, oh, it would be a voluntary deportation, I guess, for the child. I don't know. It just seems pretty fucked up. It just seems pretty fucked up. You should be keeping these people together. But, you know, I think that if you ended birthright citizenship, like, okay, that can make sense, because then they would have never gotten citizenship in the first place. And then that would reduce the incentive. But I think that for people who are already here, like, you can't kick them out. That would be, it's insane.
And your cameras are focused on her as she's crying, as she's being taken out of our country. And then the public turns against us. But we have to do our job. And you have to have a series.
Man, he's writing a fan fiction. What's he saying? Well, basically, here's what they're going to do. Like, I can see if there's any more of these posts here, too, because there's been a lot going on. I never really watched the rest of this. Let me see if I can find it. And I'll scroll down. Give me a minute. But, yeah, he did an interview, and, oh, man. I think this is it,
so
right?
I'm talking about parents who might be here illegally, but the kids are here legally.
Yeah, that's the same.
Jesus.
Same one. Let me make sure if I can find the other ones.
Canada to the tune of over $100 billion a year. We're subsidizing Mexico for almost $300 billion.
I'm sorry, am I losing? Did he just
Are they? I don't know if it's subsidizing. It's just that we're getting different trade deals.
pause the interview he was watching to go on Twitter to find clips that were further on in the interview that we're watching? Or was he watching another Twitter clip?
Oh, wasn't he just watch the whole thing?
Dollars. We shouldn't be subsidizing. Why are we subsidizing these countries? If we're going to subsidize them, let them become a state. We're subsidizing Mexico, and we're subsidizing Canada, and we're subsidizing many countries all over the world.
Like, okay, then let's make Puerto Rico and DC states. What is this thought process? Like, it's theater. Hold on. It's theater. It's all of me. This is 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 all of me. Okay. Like, we're subsidizing Mexico. All the factories are being built down there. But let's deport all the citizens back there, even though they're the best workers, I guess, because everyone wants to go build. But then also, if they're going to do this, let's just make them a state. Like, what are we even saying? It's the most hodgepodge combination of contradictory policy positions that a person could ever imagine.
I mean, I fundamentally, if Trump wants to try to get a better deal or whatever with Mexico, I mean, that's fine. I don't really care. I don't like understand the absolute specifics of everything. That's fine. I think it's stupid to try to go after everybody at the same time. I mean, when you're talking about, tariffing everybody in the world at the same time, it makes it a little difficult. It's one thing if we're like, hey, let's keep our trade relations with, Canada and Mexico pretty strong because they're our border countries, and then let's go after China. That makes sense to me, because then we could all fight in like a united front to figure it out. But to go after everybody at the same time, that's where it seems stupid. But I don't mind trying to get better trade deals overall. It just sounds more like a virtue signal, because these mass tariffs aren't going to do anything and they're not going to work. And he's promising all these huge tariffs, and it's just not going to end up going in any direction that he actually wants it to.
And all I want to do is I want to have a level.
Also, a level playing field. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you are upset about the markets between the US, Mexico, and Canada, then the blame for that should 100% fall squarely on Donald Trump. This was literally one of the only crowning achievements of his administration.
Oh, that's
and it was
true.
the renegotiation of NAFTA into the US, Mexico, Canada trade agreement. How the
true.
can he be so critical of this and not a single one of these what's this lady's name? These dog shit subhuman reporters who shouldn't even be in front of a microphone or camera. How can not a single person point that out? One person, just one person. President Trump It's really weird that you shit on these markets so much when this was like the crowning achievement that you had for foreign trade, wasn't it? Wasn't it you who renegotiated NAFTA into the U.S., Mexico, Canada free trade? Why is it such a horrible deal? Why did you, like, every time he says, oh, this is bad. Okay, why did you make it that way? Why did you make it so bad? Why did you make it so horrible? Why?
You know, I totally forgot about that. I'm not going to lie. That's actually a phenomenal point. I totally forgot that was one of the biggest things that Trump did, was that he renegotiated trade between Canada and Mexico. So yeah, I guess if he's bitching about it, I mean, you're the one who created it. That was a big part of your campaign. That was one of your successes. I honestly, damn, yeah, we need, I think, you know, as much as a little gooner Destiny is, I think he needs to be interviewing these people, because I just would have never really thought to ask that question. But that's a phenomenal point. He's right.
Why are you allowing Mexico to rip us in manufacturing? Why, President Trump? Why? Like, why? How has he not had to answer? How has he never had to answer ever for that?
Best but fair playing field.
There are 20 states that still have the federal minimum wage at $7.25.
What is the Hannibal Directive? The Hannibal Directive is every single time Israel finds disloyal Jews, they shoot them and they kill them with their own military. And then they blame them on poor Palestinian children.
And I actually have a map. 19 of these states actually voted for you, sir.
Yep. Yep.
And you can see
Right.
it
Yeah.
right
I like how this is the only fucking piece of paper chart she brings up the entire.
here. I don't know if
Right.
you remember this, but during the debate in
I
2020,
don't, dude. She's being so obnoxious. She's trying to. You see, like she's trying to get him mad.
She's trying to get him mad because she's asking him about minimum wage. I don't understand how she's trying to get him mad.
Like I like how it's triggering for these guys to what happened to the party of facts over feelings? What happened to the party of facts over feelings? So these guys are all like the thinnest, most soy boy fucking snowflaked, weak-minded losers in the universe. Like, she's trying to trigger him by bringing up a fact.
I
honestly don't even understand what the triggering part is. She's asking him about about federal minimum wage, which is very important. What? It's a conversation about empowering the middle and lower class. I think that we could probably do better. Maybe talk about a universal basic income, but that's not the conversation that needs to be had right now.
asked you if you would raise the minimum wage. You said you would consider it.
Yeah.
And so my question for you is, now that you are going back to the White House, for these 19 states that voted for you, are you going to raise the federal
It's a very low
minimum wage?
number. I will agree. It's a very low number. Let me give you the downside, though.
Yeah.
In California, they raised it up to a very high number. And your restaurants are going out of business all over the place.
Well, I don't think that that's true. All over the place. But there's a difference between like raising it, maybe keeping it in line with inflation versus a drastic increase. So it's like right now, it's like, what did she say? $7.25 an hour? Like, oh, maybe if we just like put it up by 2.5% every year. We don't have to say like, yeah, let's double it. That would be economically crippling, especially for poorer states with, you know, less robust economies, and it would hurt small business. So like, yeah, that wouldn't be good, but we don't have to do that.
The population is shrinking. It's had a very negative impact. But there is a level at which you could do it, absolutely. Yeah.
What is that level? Do you
I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. I can say this. You have a lot of businesses that are open and thriving because of the lower minimum wage. If you raise it too much, and you understand this, if California went...
Like, Trump is giving the most unashamed corporate propaganda talking point in the universe here, and nobody cares, right? Where are the populists at? Where are the populists at, right? Excuse me. You're telling me that there is a corporate climate in America where some businesses can only survive by paying the federal minimum wage? Is that what you're trying? Like, this is the same.
Well, no, obviously, I think it's more. I mean, like, no, that's okay. Just to be clear, like, yeah, Trump is being very indirect with the answer because he doesn't want to explain anything at all here. But it's more that these big businesses can just afford to automate away the jobs anyway. And then these small businesses can't afford it, so that they're going to go, we're going to just lose jobs. That's why we need some kind of like negative income tax or universal basic income to shore this up. You know, because if, let's say you boost the minimum wage in like a poor state for like a McDonald's, right? McDonald's can afford to pay people, you know, whatever. But they don't want to. And what they're going to do is they're going to continue to push through automation, which they're already doing now anyway. And they're going to continue to cause more like job loss, right? That's why we really need to have a conversation about like figuring out what we should actually do here.
Used to use for more immigration, that the illegals work for cheap. Like, where's the outrage? Where's the populist fervor?
Crazy. They went
Hell yeah, UBI mentioned it.
crazy. And people, the restaurants are closing all over. Many more people are hurt.
So I hear you saying similarly to sort of what you said in 2020, will you consider it? Is this something you're going to look at?
I'd want to speak to the governors. And the other thing that's very complicated about minimum wages is places are so different. Mississippi and Alabama and great places are very different than New York or California. I mean, in terms of the cost of living and other things. So it would be nice to have just a minimum wage for the whole country, but it wouldn't work because.
Well, it would work. We can, it would work.
You have places where it's very inexpensive.
And he's right about that. The thing is, he's right.
To
Kill me.
Yeah, he is.
Where a minimum wage, which is.
I like it when all the millionaires sit down and go like, yeah, he's right. We can't make it more. We can't have people living. He's not right about this. The problem is Trump is intentionally speaking very indirectly because he doesn't really care about the federal minimum wage issue, which is fine. You don't have to care. But there's a difference between a drastic increase going from $7.25 an hour to like $15 an hour versus a moderate increase of like, hey, let's increase it by 3% a year to keep up with like the general trend of inflation. Because it hasn't been increased in how long? That's a very long time. When you have the lower and middle class getting decimated, it's time to have conversations. It's time to have conversations about like what we can do to maybe make it, more affordable to be a average everyday person. That's not a hot take at all. It's strange where Asmongold, the millionaire out of touch person who doesn't shower or bathe or uses a dead rat as an alarm clock, is going to sit here and talk to us about how Trump is right. We can't really raise the minimum wage. You don't know what you're talking about, and you don't care to know what you're talking about.
$8 might have very little effect because the cost of living in certain places is really low.
Yeah, no, he's totally right about that.
It's not totally right.
Like this is like
just saying things.
It's like we're watching retards doing math.
Stop! Don't say that.
And we're like applauding every time they get like single digit addition correct. Like 9 plus 7 is 16. He's right. He's right. He is right. That's my president. He's funny.
Okay. Dude, this is fucking. I love Unhinged Destiny. I love it. I don't know how productive it is, but I love it.
What's wrong with that? Nothing is wrong with that, but it's not an impressive thing to be correct about. Yes, this is why federal minimum wages are retarded. Don't suck my dick, Bernie bros. Different states do have different costs of living. I think a federal minimum wage at too high of a number is stupid. But
well, yeah, but even you're saying too high of a number. Like that's the conversation is like, what is too high of a number?
You don't get bonus points for having the most like brain dead obvious, especially when the rest of the interview is a softball retarded interview where you're saying the most outrageous shit in the universe. What gives people like Asmongold the confidence to talk or something to talk so confidently about something they know nothing about? Why is this hard for them to just admit that they don't know something? Because it's just audience feedback. Audience likes what you say, so you keep saying the same thing. I mean, really, at the end of the day, he's doing the same thing Trump is doing, which is the same.
True, that's why I talk about gooning all the time. You guys love it.
Thing reporters are doing, which is the same thing that he's doing, which is the same thing that the audience is doing, right? We have a vibe. The vibe is like, I guess the vibe is basically whatever Trump wants it to be. So Trump has like a vibe, like square clouds are hurting America. And then he'll go on Joe Rogan and Joe Rogan will be like, really? And Trump will be like, there's a lot of different clouds and the square ones are definitely the worst. And Joe Rogan's like, okay. And then he'll go to a reporter and the reporter will be like, you said this about square clouds. There's no evidence of that. Trump's like, wrong. There's lots of evidence that the square clouds are hurting us. And I'm like, oh shit, okay. And then people on Twitter are now posting.
It is true. Square clouds are hurting us.
Posting photographs of liberals screaming or crying with square clouds in the background. And then people like Asmongold see this and then they watch an interview of Trump and Trump brings up the square clouds and Trump has talked about the square clouds. Nobody in the podcast circuit has pushed back about the square clouds. Maybe even a square cloud scientist is now being quoted by everybody. The reporters won't push back on the square cloud thing. All the people on social media are talking about.
I knew square clouds was a real problem.
Square clouds. So then Asmongold says, yeah, I mean square clouds. And that's it. This is like, it's the whole cycle of, it's like the human centipede, except it's connected at the head and asshole from the first and third person as well.
about the edit the Constitution. Oh, here we go.
Why doesn't Asmongold just watch the whole fucking thing? Like, why is he watching only part of it?
Millionaires agreeing with billionaires. What a timeline. Well, I think they should raise the minimum wage too. Actually, I don't see the point for raising the minimum wage because like people aren't really being paid minimum wage in most jobs.
What?
So like, I don't really think that's going to matter in a lot of cases.
This is true. The minimum wage is like the least important of our policies regarding labor. But this is going to be the only thing we talk about. It is true. It's just a dog shit thing to fixate on.
But
I don't understand why it would be a dog shit thing to fixate on, like what the minimum wage is. I don't really see that. I don't understand why that's a. I don't understand why it's a hot take to say like we should generally keep minimum wage in line with inflation. It makes no sense. Right? Basically, what's happening every single year is minimum wage is becoming at least less money every year. For like what? When is the last time we raised the federal minimum wage? 2009 is the last time they raised the federal minimum wage. We could just set it to like inflation and then talk about something else like a UBI, which I keep saying I know I'm annoying, but I don't understand why. Why is it a bad thing to necessarily focus on? Why not have a floor? Like, we should have a federal minimum wage floor. I don't think that that's a hot take, but okay, maybe I'm wrong.
I don't think it really makes a difference because you're going to have universal basic income 30 years anyway.
All right, well, see, there we go. That's kind of based, Asmongold, kind of based. I mean, I don't know about in 30 years. I mean, 30 years is quite a long time for now, just to be clear. You know, it might be too late by then, but but we should have a UBI.
I'm
based Asmongold UBI supporter.
responding to this. I'm just letting you all know that I know, and you should know that this is a joke thing. The person who typed this doesn't believe it, and we're all playing a game right now. This is all part of our theater, okay? And this guy is one of the actors that's come forth to deliver a line. Okay. As an Asmongold viewer, he laughs at crazy things that Trump says that Asmongold personally disagrees with. Just because he laughs doesn't mean he agrees with it, right? So the joke here on this part of the script is that we are appealing to the fact that in a vacuum, somebody can read something and laugh at it, okay? And that doesn't necessarily mean they agree with it, but we know, like stepping back from the play, that this is an obviously retarded thing to say.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're just laughing at it and then you're moving on, you're just communicating like, oh, haha, this isn't a big deal. Whoever this person is stupid and like full of shit.
Because Asmongold's audience is like 90% Trump supporters. I think we saw them run polls in his chat over who they wanted to win, and that Asmongold does not offer any substantive pushback against Donald Trump or the things that he says ever, but he does with Kamala Harris a ton, and that's reflected in both his channel and his audience. So that's why we know in the real world that what you just said was fucking retarded, but it's like part of the play. That was a good line. Thank you for participating.
Like,
Jesus Christ. Stop saying bad words.
let's be honest.
You promised to end birthright citizenship on day one. Is that still your plan?
Yeah, absolutely.
Damn. Bro. Oh, shit.
Why is that so shocking to you? Like, I don't understand. Why? Damn, he really got him with that one. Okay. I'm just a little confused as to why that was like, Jesus, why that was like such a big, wow, I'm getting decimated. Why that was like such a big deal to Asmongold. I don't get it.
Anchors away, yeah. Just changing that entirely, yes. Just, yeah, oh my God.
14.
I mean, he probably won't be able to get that changed because part of the Constitution, no. But why is that so shocking to Asmongold? I don't understand. Like, that was such a badass moment to him. Like, I don't understand.
The Amendment, though, says that, quote, all persons born in the United States are citizens. Can you get around the 14th Amendment with an executive action?
Change?
Good question.
That's
Good
it.
question.
Just going to change it.
Okay.
Oh, man. Oh, I start birthright was a bit of an exploit. If the United States was a video game, there would be a patch fixing that exploit.
Wow. Okay.
I was going to pause this before. And I was going to talk about how I was just going to bring up that I bet, again, if Kamala had said anything about social issues, Asmongold making 20 videos about it, but since Trump says ridiculous shit, he laughs at it, and then I know there'd be some guy posting a chat. Just because Asmongold laughs at this doesn't mean that he agrees with it, but now I let it play for too long. So he does, okay, so he does agree with getting rid of birthright citizenship. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. I agree with getting rid of birthright citizenship, too. I don't see it as like a negative to get rid of birthright citizenship, personally. I mean, it would reduce people's incentive to coming here.
Let's be honest.
Illegally, rather.
Of course. Yes, it obviously is an exploit.
Well, you know, if we're going to play in video game terms, aren't exploits like the whole primary thing when it comes to speedrunning games?
Why not just watch the interview? Why are we going down this Twitter account of the most selected clips? And is this like all of Twitter, or is this just like one? Why not just
peeling and replacing?
When John McCain let us down by voting, and Murkowski and Collins,
every other country stopped doing it. I'm not sure.
Voted against, but they really let us down. They did us a great disservice because we would have had great health. Obamacare is lousy health care. It's
really not
expensive health care for the people. It's also expensive for the country, but for the people, it's lousy health care. When John McCain gave his thumbs down after saying for 10 years that he wants to repeal and replace, okay, and then he came out, put his now famous thumbs down.
I think that every solution for healthcare that's not single-payer systems is bad.
That's the odds. Just there's no way. There are no marginal improvements. There's nothing you can do to make things better. It's an all or nothing of the most extreme solution you can think of. Or
yeah, I mean, it's funny because this is like the horseshoe theory, right? Like this is like very left-leaning people are. We have to completely deconstruct the system, and then you have Asmongold that's like we have to completely deconstruct the system. Most people are not for that. Most people are for like nice, meaningful, progressive healthcare change. Like, hey, let's implement a single payer system. Let's have maybe the government come up with a public option where we can all pay into it based on our, how much money we make, and we could all opt into it. That could be a little, maybe potentially safer, more affordable, maybe not as good as the private insurance companies offer, but they can compete with private insurance. The government can set their own prices a little bit better, which should theoretically bring down the cost of private insurance. And then when private insurance comes, like this way, it's a competitor, and then like hopefully we bring down private insurance, and then all health insurance would hopefully go down. That would be the experiment. And if it doesn't work out, we still have our old system in place, so that we still have our old system in place, right? So that everything doesn't go to shit. But just to drastically, you're just never going to get a drastic change. It's like a silly goose little thing to think that you're going to do. Also, Trump kind of ruined the Affordable Care Act, the Obamacare. The whole fundamental idea of Obamacare was to try to to stop people, making sure people get coverage for pre-existing conditions, which is guaranteed in the ACA, which is why Republicans didn't try to overturn it when Trump was in office the first time. But on top of that, what it did, and Trump ruined this, is that it would punish you if you didn't get health insurance. And like, you could think that that's bad and that's fine, but the idea was to get everybody insured, even if you didn't need insurance necessarily, so that you would subsidize the cost of an older person, less healthy person. So like, let's say you're 20 and you have health insurance. You really don't need it, but you do have health insurance. That person that's like, 60 years old, their insurance might be a little bit cheaper because they do need it, right? And you'd offset it. By the time you're 60, that other 20-year-old now, that somebody who's 20-year-old now, they'll pay for you. And it's like kind of just a teeter-totter effect. Him removing that overall increased the price of health insurance. It wasn't a good idea. And I fundamentally do agree and believe that we should all be paying into everybody's health care. I think everybody should have health care. If you disagree, that's fine. So like Trump did, he ruined Obamacare. He likes to say that he did a great job making it better. He ruined Obamacare. He ruined the Affordable Care Act. He impeded progress of like some kind of a better healthcare system, just to be absolutely clear. So when he says that he could have done something better, he couldn't have. That's why John McCain shot it down.
Or it's just, okay.
Every solution.
Yeah, it's just Social Security, but for healthcare.
Yeah,
yes, exactly. It's like a pension. It's basically like a pension. Yeah, that's what it is. Obamacare was supposed to make healthcare like a pension. You know what I mean? You pay into it, but you're paying for, for the people who are older. Then they die, you get older, then other people are paying for yours, and it's just kind of like that's the whole fundamental idea of it.
Necessitates insurance.
It's not perfect because it still works within like a very, I would say, pretty broken system, but it's progress in the right direction. That's what it is.
Insurance is bad.
Keep in mind, places like Canada, in most countries, you can buy separate insurance, but okay.
It's like the window in which we're looking at solutions to healthcare is too small. And it's always been like this. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I'm just saying you should shoot the people that run the services, but I don't agree with it. Yeah.
What?
And he became a hero to the left. Let me just tell you, if we find something better, I would love to do it. But unless we find...
He's been talking about how he's had something for years.
But one thing I have to say, I inherited Obamacare, or anything else you want to go. It's got about 20 names, but I inherited it. And I had
the Affordable Care Act.
a decision to make with Health and Human Services. I had a big decision to make. Do I make it as good as we can make it, or do I let it rot?
Like I said, he made it worse. He made it worse by getting rid of the penalties. So he's just kind of talking here.
Yeah, exactly. Can you explain single payer for normies?
Yeah, exactly. Wait, what did Trump do? We're just playing. This is just a Trump propaganda channel. Holy f! Somebody in the chat said it. You're right. He's just the Hasan for the right, I guess.
Yeah, that is true. That's kind of true. He's damn. I don't think he's as annoying as Hasan, but it is kind of true that Asmongold is kind of just the Hasan of the right, huh? Okay.
Oh my God. It's the monkey paw, right? I understand the monkey paw meme now. Like 2 months ago, I was like, I just wish that there was pushback against Hasan on Twitch. And this is it. It's the right-wing populist pushback.
Yeah, I guess it all works out then, huh?
Basically, your taxes are higher and the government gives you health care. That's what I think the solution is. Cool. Because so think about it like this.
Yeah,
that's what single payer is. That's what it means.
Single payer for...
As we can make it, or do I let it rot?
Yeah, exactly. Can you explain single payer
Yeah, exactly. I like that. I like how he didn't explain
for
it.
normies? Basically, your taxes are higher and the government gives you healthcare. That's what I think the solution is.
Based. Okay,
Because
true.
every so think about it like this.
That is based. I agree with that. Thank you, Asmongold.
Every dollar spent on healthcare that goes to a private company, a lot of that money is paid out in dividends and big CEO salaries
True.
and payouts
Very
to other
based.
people. So there's a lot of excess
And paying lobbyists to advocate to have your to deregulate your business. That's another thing too.
money that the company collects because it's a for-profit company. All of that excess money is being added to the total amount of healthcare cost an individual has.
True.
So if you remove the profit aspect of it and it just simply existed to serve a function, then you would have lower costs because you would not have all of this extra money that needs to be made as profit.
Wow.
Ah, based Asmongold, dude. What? Based.
Just it's so fucking obvious.
It's so obvious. Profit does extract money from the healthcare services. That is true. Now, whether that leads to any improvements or not, I don't know. It's not even worth arguing about.
Well, it's more about, I mean, I don't necessarily care that the industry has a profit. I care more about that the industry has a gross profit that is massively detrimental. I don't care if people make money doing a thing. I do care if they make too much money. I mean, that's a conversation of like, well, what is too much money? You know, I mean, it just depends. I guess it just depends. When you have people who are fucking billionaires, while you who rely on a system that denies people claims that they're supposed to have just to try to maximize money because they know they're not going to fight it back, well, then obviously there's a problem with whatever system that we're operating in. So
With any audience, including mine, but it wouldn't account for it wouldn't account for the bulk of the extra money that we spend on services. Even if you removed all the profit from the healthcare sector, it wouldn't necessarily fix like the majority. I think more than like 20 or 25% maybe of all healthcare costs in the U.S. But
yeah.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of other issues too in our healthcare system. It's not just the insurance companies, which do make an extraordinary amount of unnecessary money, but it's also how expensive like doctors and hospitals are. Doctors are overpaid. Hospitals charge too much. One of the reasons hospitals charge too much money is because they want the insurance companies to think that they're getting a good deal. So it's like, yeah, this Tylenol pill's $25, but we're going to give it to you guys for $15. Or you go to the doctor and it's like, yep, this office visit is $250, but it's actually, you're only going to pay $150 for the health insurance company. They're getting a discount. When the reality is you can go to your doctor and ask for the uninsured price, and it's already cheaper, right? But then doctors are overpaid. And one of the reasons doctors are overpaid is because it's so expensive to become a doctor when it really doesn't need to be. It should be difficult to become a doctor, right? You want good doctors, but expensive, it shouldn't be that expensive. But you have a lot of schools that are very expensive. And one of the problems that we have in our schooling system, especially for like public schools, like whatever it's called, I went to one, community colleges. I went to one for a little bit, is that they are subsidized by the government in an unregulated capacity. So if you look at how expensive these community colleges are, a third of the pay usually, from my understanding, is that 1/3 of the pay you pay for, a third gets paid for the federal government, and a third gets paid by the state government, your local government, right? And they pretty much can set whatever price that they want uncontested. That's what it seems to be. If you look at the numbers, administrative costs, which from my understanding add very little value to the teacher experience or the student experience, have gone up extraordinarily. And so those are going up, which I think really all they're doing is trying to pull more people into the school rather than actually providing a good experience for people that are in the school. And that's inflating the costs of going to school. And that's kind of how it is across the board when it comes to other colleges in general. It's just very expensive for no reason. And so that's another aspect of the system that we have to shore up. We also like having better healthcare as Americans. We like the best of the best sometimes, but I say the average American is okay with like 90% of the best for half the price, I would say, generally speaking. Also, it's not like doctors are exactly that great. Most doctors I've dealt with are fucking dumb as dog shit anyway.
Yeah, so public healthcare? Yeah, absolutely. I think that you should have private healthcare as well. I don't think that it should be illegal to have private healthcare, but people should be able to rely on public healthcare.
Sure.
The people whose lives really get fucked up by healthcare are not the lower class or the upper class, it's the middle class. Because lower class people, and if you're really fucking broke, you just show up to the emergency room. That's what you do. Like,
that is true.
I'm gonna kill myself.
What? He's right. You can just show up to the emergency room and not pay your bill. I see people do that all the time. I was sitting in the hospital one day and this girl's like, yeah, I'm here to pick up prescription drugs. You're just like a poor drug addict. And God bless her. But like, yeah, there's a level of truth to that. And when people go to the ER and they don't pay, because you don't have to pay, we end up paying for it. So if like there's a bunch of people not paying when they go to the ER, like what does Walmart do when people steal from Walmart? They raise their prices across the board so that they can shore up any money that they don't make. They do the same thing at a hospital. And by the way, I think you should be able to go there and not have to pay if you can't afford. So I don't care. But like, yeah, if you go to the hospital, you don't have to pay. And then they're going to overall, they know how much money they're losing a year from people not paying. So they're going to increase the price for everybody else. This is like absolutely a thing that happens. This is 100%. This is 100% true. This is 100% true.
He was partially correct. Middle class people probably get fucked the most because they're on very unfortunate like fiscal cliffs. Like you don't.
How can you vote Democrat and expect these people to hand everything to you? You live to you and live, aka live easy. Dude, life is so easy. Listen, I want to be real with you. Life, the difficulty of life is relative. Our lives are 1,000 times easier than they ever used to be. We have a computer more powerful than like PlayStation 2 in our hands at all times. Like we have the access to insane things. GPSs make life easier. You guys don't realize that. You remember when people have to use MapQuest, they'd have to print it offline? That was an improvement. You used to just have to kind of know where you were going or read a map. Okay, life has changed. There are chairs that are more comfortable. Jobs are automated now. You can do Uber Eats instead of going. There are drive-thrus. You go to the supermarket and you can just use a self-checkout. There are so many aspects of your life that are easier than the life was beforehand. And then people are like, well, like, oh, so you want things handed to you? Well, first of all, everybody wants things handed to us. Second of all, it's okay to help people. The true peak of human existence is going to be hooking up our brains to a supercomputer that pumps us full of the most amazing experiences ever. That's it. That's just where we're going to optimize the human experience. Of course, people should have to work, and we should incentivize them to work. But technology is about making everybody more comfortable, aka lazier. That's where it is. You know? So like I love you. You're criticizing me because you're a Democrat, you want everything handed to you. You're watching an obese streamer who works 25 hours a week for more money than you probably make. And you're sitting here complaining that I want to vote Democrat to make things a little easier for people potentially. Like, there's a perception that if you make money, that like, what do you think? Just because I make money doesn't mean I work hard. like the first thing you should say is like, oh, you just don't work. I don't work hard. I put effort into my content. I've been putting more effort into it as the year ends, and I'm going to be doing more next year, you know, to shift my content strategy. But like, nobody looks at me and goes, wow, this guy's like super duper lazy. But if you knew like how much work I did, you'd be like, oh, you are lazy. Like, I don't do a goddamn thing compared to most of you guys. Like, but nobody sits here and criticizes me, but will criticize people for wanting handouts for healthcare. That's weird to me. All three people that are on the screen right now, all three streamers, actually Destiny probably works harder, but let's just do me and Asmongold. We don't work hard. Asmongold plays a video game for 12 hours a day and then have somebody upload clips for him and makes money passively. That's what he's doing. I come on stream and I'll stream for like 3 or 4 hours a day, usually maybe 6 or 7 days a week. And then I'll do like another 2 hours offline. So maybe I do like 30 hours of work a week. Probably not even. So I'm doing like 20 to 30 hours, depending on the week, depending on the demand of the week. Although I didn't do my podcast my way. But anyway, you get my point. And I'm still making really good money. We don't do a lot. I probably do more than Asmongold, but we don't do a lot. But nobody's criticizing us for our existence, but we're criticizing people who want healthcare. You know? That's like that. People should just kind of keep their... I never said I had a problem with you doing YouTube. That's my point. You should. Why do you have a problem with people wanting affordable healthcare and you're calling that lazy, but you don't have a problem with fat fucking streamers like me or, you know, rat smelly streamers like Asmongold making a bunch of money doing almost nothing? That's what I don't understand. It's lazy to want everybody to have access to affordable healthcare. That's treating people with like a privilege and making them lazier. But like lazy streamers who add very little value to life, like, we're okay. That's the point I'm trying to get you to see.
Hold on. No, never mind. I'm in a good mood. I'm not banning you. Like working class people or poor people get access to Medicaid. Wealthier people have access to have access to private insurance and shit. And older people have access to Medicare. But if you're poor, it's that you have access to things like Medicaid or other help. It's not that you can just go to the emergency room over and over and over again. I don't know where this
But you can do that. You literally can do that. I don't know why he's pretending like you can't.
take came from.
But people should be able to rely on public healthcare. The people whose lives really get fucked up by healthcare are not the lower class or the upper class, it's the middle class. Because lower class people, and if you're really fucking broke, you
It was funny that you disagreed when Hasan said the exact same thing about what?
just show up to the emergency room. That's what you do. Like I had to take my mom to the emergency room probably 10 times. Every single time we'd get a bill, you know what we do with the bill? We'd throw it away. And then we go to the emergency room again and we get another bill. That's it. And it would just keep happening. And so it's not a big deal. And also, we had something called the MAP program. That's what it is here in Texas.
I'm sorry, my mind has been so brain rotted.
I'm not understanding what Destiny. I don't understand what Destiny's issue with this take is, because he's not wrong about this.
It doesn't MAP have to do with fucking kids. Am I making this up? What am I thinking of?
Yeah, it has to do with you wanted to fuck kids. Dirty maps.
Am I? That's a real thing. No, I'm sure it's a real thing. Oh, minor attracted person. Didn't conservatives say that liberals or progressives are trying to add pedophiles to LGBTQ with the MAP thing or whatever? But my brain is rotted. I'm sorry. Okay.
Well, it's like a 4chan troll that people tried to make it seem like it was real, and people took the bait because they hate trans people.
That's it. And it would just keep happening. And so it's not a big deal. And also, we had something called the MAP program. That's what it is here in Texas. And if you make under a certain amount of money, you then have your healthcare paid for by MAP.
There you go.
Which is
Yeah, I mean, that's how Obamacare works in general. Like, I dated somebody who used to not make any money, so their healthcare was free and it was better than mine, and I paid $100 a week. So
Yeah.
like it turned your copay from being like my copay for getting dental work done, they pulled out a tooth, was
fuck.
$10.
Thank you for the medium gut from Gay for Frito-Lay.
Literally $10. Like, you don't have to pay anything. And I could have also just walked out and not paid it.
Based.
How's that not?
Destiny, I was pretty against your take on health insurance companies, but then after looking at UHC's profit margins, and they are only 6%, I'm sort of coming around to your way of thinking. It's not like they're adding much fluff to the current system. Good for you. However, if you weren't a fucking retard, okay, like all of you are, what you would say is, Destiny, I know that you like to focus on profit over revenue, but shouldn't we actually look at the entire operating costs of all of the health insurance companies? Because it's not that we're worried about the profit, it's that the administrative load of these companies, period, could be reduced if the healthcare providers themselves could provide the coverage. So we should really be looking at the total expenditures of all of these companies, right? Technically, you could say that, but...
He's like crashing out on his fucking fans that are complimenting him. He's going crazy. Jesus Christ.
Not the same as government healthcare? It is. But what I'm saying is that the real squeeze on people comes from people that make too much money to qualify for government assistance, and they make too little money to be able to afford private healthcare without it affecting their budget.
True.
Those are the people that are very negatively affected. It's the middle, I'd say probably 50% of people. Probably maybe 70, 80% of people, really. So yeah, that's my experience at least.
What does it mean? That's his experience. Or I guess it was a poor and rich person, maybe? I don't know.
A lot of political people
Yeah, he just explained it. What the fuck? Why is Destiny is so triggered? He's shitting on Asmongold for everything.
said, let it rot and let it be a failure.
Yeah.
I said, that's not the right thing to do. And
Somebody says
Well, he didn't do that. He let it rot, and he's helped it become less successful.
free healthcare in Canada has issues too. What if I told you that we have issues with healthcare here? I used to think Canadian healthcare was really
Congrats on being born. Thank you.
bad until I asked a few people, and then they all told me no, it's fine. I've been
I hate my life.
I was with Destiny at first, but now he's just completely brain rotted on Asmongold.
I'm the problem. It's because I'm autistic. I'm autistic. I have autism. I acknowledge that.
bad. Issues with healthcare here.
Okay. You have an opinion about a comprehensive system that impacts the lives of 20, 30, 40 million people? How many people live in Canada? Canada population. 40 million individuals are affected by this massive system. If you wanted to collect comprehensive information about that system and how it compares to the rest of the world, how would you go about doing that?
I used to think Canadian healthcare was really bad until
Well, I mean, I guess if the criticism is hey, Asmongold is just saying his friend told him it's not so bad, then that's the problem. Yeah, I guess that's a fine criticism, but is he wrong? I mean, that's really where I'm more focused on. Is Asmongold wrong? I don't think Canada's healthcare system is that bad. I'm sure it has its problems, like every healthcare system, but I think I would rather have Canada's healthcare problems than America's healthcare problems.
I asked a few people, and then they all told me no, it's fine. I've been there and it's okay. So I think that people having bad interactions is always true, but that's not something that's probably limited to Canada.
Oh.
No, of course not.
We would just ask a few people. Oh. Okay.
He's so angry, dude.
And I know that my mom had bad
He's so
experiences
angry.
with private healthcare here. That's what happens no matter what.
very good people in the medical area that handled that. And I said, what do you want to do? He said, we really have an obligation to make it as good as we can. And we did. We made it as good as we can make it. Instead of making it bad where everybody would be calling for its repeal, I made it so that it works. Now,
but you did try to overturn.
I did dislike the fact that Obamacare necessitated you paying insurance.
Well, that's the problem, though, right? Like, I understand people didn't like that. Obamacare made it so that you had to pay for insurance. I explained this earlier, but they made it so that you had to pay for insurance, even if you didn't necessarily need it. So young, healthy people were incentivized to get it. If you didn't, you would end up getting taxed at the end of the year. And that's annoying. I understand that. But the idea was that, like, you're subsidizing older people's healthcare. Like, that's the whole thing. You're subsidizing an older person's healthcare. So that when you're older, a younger person will subsidize your healthcare to make it cheaper. That's why Obamacare, which is the Affordable Care Act, which protects people with pre-existing conditions, which everybody agrees which should be a thing, is more expensive now. Trump made Obamacare more expensive. So he's lying when he said that he could have destroyed it and made it better. He couldn't have. Nobody, like, it wasn't popular in his party because he had no plan to protect pre-existing conditions. And that's why that's not really a good thing if you believe in... It's just not a good thing to do what he did.
Where do you think the money for single payer is going to come from, Asmongold? Why would you say this?
That's true. I mean, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard for Asmongold to say. Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. It's hard for Asmongold to say that I don't agree with this thing that would make everybody pay, when just like 5 minutes earlier he's saying that we should have a completely new healthcare system in America that is single payer. Like, it would be basically Obamacare is single payer healthcare to an extent, working within our flawed system. So how do you not agree with it?
He's going to say something to rectify that situation. To this, what did he just say? He's about to change. He's going to say, there's a way. Actually, there's a way to salvage that statement. There's a way to salvage that statement. I've looked forward into 1,342 million universes, and in 17 of them, Asmongold's next line is, if we want to have socialized healthcare, then we should just have socialized healthcare. But I'm uncomfortable that the U.S. federal government forces me to pay private companies for insurance. Okay.
Let's see it.
You're cleared for takeoff, Asmongold. If you say anything besides that, it is the most retarded thing I've ever heard on his stream before.
Goodness.
I thought it was a government overreach.
Oh.
When a person is legally compelled to pay a private company, I think that's disgusting.
Okay. It's not the worst take.
Okay. Yeah. Like, just straight up the mandate. Yeah, that's the main reason I didn't like it. Car insurance?
How is this not dumb too? It is kind of dumb, but it's better than. It's just.
I mean, I don't know how I feel about that. Because, like, yeah, car insurance. I believe in having, like, car insurance. Maybe I just don't care about this.
It is
the interest of the village that I need to run?
I think car insurance is slightly different.
Why?
Because you don't have a right to drive. Driving is a privilege, but you should have a right to health care.
Because you're using public roads. And
what?
So it's like you're basically like paying for the roads and you're affecting other people. And it's also...
This doesn't make any sense, because by this logic, then car insurance should just be run by the government. I would say it's different because our car insurance isn't like this massive issue that's economically crippling in the way that healthcare is. And healthcare is about keeping people safe, and car insurance is about keeping cars safe. Well, I guess it's also about keeping people safe. What?
What do you think? What do you think do you think hospitals are built just for you? Like, there's one hospital per person? Or what do you think insurance and healthcare coverage, like, pays for? And when you pay the hospitals and the doctors?
For the other person, and not necessarily yourself. Like, your car insurance is meant to pay for the other person's damages also. But also, like, I do have that viewpoint for car insurance as well. But health insurance, I very strongly believe that. And car insurance, I'm not as strongly motivated. Okay. Yeah, driving is, that's also a really great point too, is that you don't have to drive, but you do have to
have health insurance or
have health care, right?
Well, you understand.
I think that you do. I think you do have to have car insurance, no? In order to drive a car, isn't like they make you have it?
Like, not to be an asshole, but like, being able to drive is probably more important for most Americans than having access to a hospital, right? It would suck if you got really sick and needed to go to the hospital, but like, my guess would be 80% of Americans probably couldn't, like, they just wouldn't be able to survive without a car. Like, if you,
actually, that might actually be true. That's interesting.
For the percentage of Americans that have like life-ending healthcare situations, that would suck, but way more would probably need to drive than need to go to the hospital.
Turn it,
It's
sir.
well, it's
you did
lousy.
try to overturn it. You did have your justice.
Destiny, not everyone owns a car. Everyone is alive, though. You don't need to go to a hospital.
I didn't even realize that.
To be alive. What do you mean? You can't live without healthcare? What do you... never mind. I'm just banning and moving on. I'm just banning and move on. Okay.
Well, you can live technically without going to a hospital. Right? I mean, you can live without a car too, but it can be very difficult.
I don't think driving outweighs healthcare in a basic right scale. That's great. I'm glad you think that. I don't want to hear it from rich kids, okay? No rich kids. We need to have
You are a rich kid, just to be clear, but
an income
but he does make a. I think he makes a decent point.
cutoff. Okay, we need to have an income cutoff in my chat for saying retarded fucking statements, okay? In the United States of America, you cannot survive without a car. You have to have a car to drive and go to work.
Well, you can take a bus, just to be clear. There are, unless you don't have like a robust bus system.
Most people are reasonably healthy, such that they're probably okay without doctors. That's how health works. Generally speaking, most people are reasonably healthy.
This department tried to direct the Supreme Court to.
No, we got a little bit of a surprising opinion, to be honest with you. If it would have been overturned, we would have had much.
That's not true. What did I just say that wasn't true? You can't live without healthcare? That's not what you meant to say, because there are living humans that have never seen the inside of a hospital, believe it or not. I don't even know what that statement meant.
Maybe they were talking about healthcare in general. I don't know. Jesus Christ.
Like, what do you think is the percentage of Americans have like a life-threatening visit to the hospital below the age of like 35, but below the age of like 50? If you get cancer and are looking at death without medication, I think driving would be the least of your worries. How many? Do you think the average person has cancer? Why?
Sounds like Destiny's getting cancer from this conversation.
Why is my audience not even immune to the AIDS around this conversation? Like, your brain just shuts off. Do you think the average person...
I think that when it comes to what a lot of times Destiny's right about what he's saying, but he's so unemotionally driven that like you have to like I think that's the biggest thing that Destiny ever struggles with is emotional appeal. I don't think he understands how to emotionally appeal to people. So he'll say a statement that's correct. Like logically it is correct, but it's maybe a little uncomfortable. But he doesn't bother explaining the emotional aspect of his uncomfortable statement. So people are just like, no, you're wrong about that. That makes no sense. It's like, no, it actually makes sense what he's saying. But it's just so, it lacks so much emotional communication that it's just like, it triggers the fuck out of his audience. It's so funny.
Person has cancer? You need healthcare for any basic treatment. It is impossible to antibiotics or cold meds without healthcare. I know this is going to be a mind fuck to you, but you understand that like you can get over most diseases you can get over it without antibiotics or a hospital visit. You do.
Or you could just go to the hospital and not pay, right? But
know that, right? Like, I'm not saying it's good to not have healthcare. I'm just saying that to most people, having access to an automobile is more important. Without a car, your life is over. You are done. You can't work. You can't work. You're gonna die. You have to have a car. Destiny, don't be obtuse. Rotten teeth, bad eyesight, all other sorts of stuff. Okay.
Much better health care right now. But right now, we have something that I made the best of. I could have made the worst of it, and it would have fallen by the wayside.
It's disappointing that they tried to make the...
Destiny, does the average citizen live in an area that doesn't have any transit? Most of the population lives in a city, as far as I know, so you could probably get by. Who? Hold on. That's a European. You got to be a European. Hold on.
I mean, we do have buses and like stuff, but I don't think most of the population lives by a city.
Destiny, the bloat or total operating cost argument could be an interesting one. The argument you'd have to make is that the government could do it more efficiently. The argument I'm making, at the very least from a health insurance perspective, is that the profits being extracted. Sure, the reason why you can argue that the government could probably administer it more efficiently But the problem too is that you have to have you have to have more communication allowed between government administrations. But like theoretically, the government is theoretically positioned to have more control or access to information and can administer it more cleanly than having 52 million different people that like collect information about you and have different healthcare records and different whatever, like all sorts of stupid shit. Like theoretically, the government should be able to do that more efficiently, right? Speaking from personal experience, I can work and live life just fine without a car, but I 100% need healthcare. I am blind.
How do you work? What the hell? Or maybe they're just not fully blind.
Destiny, if you had to choose a right to drive or a right to access to healthcare, which would you choose and why?
I mean, I would choose the healthcare because I can... Oh! What did I just do? Fuck!
I'd probably choose healthcare because I'm rich. But if you were to ask me when I was working, obviously driving is the most important thing in the world. It's like not even close. How can you survive without... How can you survive without driving? Your life is over. Well, you can't do anything. Your life is over. What happened to millennials getting like mind fucked? It's so funny that like 5 years ago, the millennial meme is GP. I haven't been to a doctor in 15 years. And now every single millennial is getting biannual checkups. You guys are getting colonoscopies and eye exams and dental visits. You guys are doing all this shit like every 3 months. Holy fuck. What happened? Jesus Christ.
I don't know why he's like... I don't know why he's harping on this point so much. Let it go.
Address the bus argument? I'm not going to address the bus argument because if you're living in the United States of America and you're telling me that a person that lives in an average city can rely on the bus to get to and from work, you've just never ridden a bus in the United States before.
Well, just to be clear, a lot of people do rely on the bus and the subways to get to work. They absolutely were. This is a real thing, man. I don't know. Like in cities, it's not great, but they rely on it all the time. I used to work for a bus company. Who do you think took the bus? It was only people who really took the bus were poor people trying to get to work.
There are like fucking 4 cities. I'm trying to think of cities I've been in with acceptable public transit.
It doesn't matter if it's acceptable. It's what people got.
Boston and New York City are the only ones that I can think of. Fuck buses in LA. Fuck all the buses in fucking Omaha. Miami kind of has some. But like, you're talking about like hours and hours maybe out of your day, depending upon where you're going, depending on how far out you live. Also, you're also taking into account, these are only people that are living in like the most densest parts of these cities. But like, if you live like a commute out, like, if you live in, like if you work in Chicago, are you taking a bus from like a suburb, like 40 minutes away to work? Is that possible?
The best of it.
Well, you're probably not working in a if you live in a city, you're probably not working in a suburb. You're probably, if you live in a suburb, you're working in the city. But if you live in a city, you don't really work in the suburbs. Generally speaking, like that's my understanding. Like usually you're living in the city and then you're taking public transportation to work in the city somewhere. But if you live in the suburb, like that's how it is in New York. Like people on Long Island, like all the cops in New York cops work in, they live they live on Long Island and they go from the suburbs to the city. It's just a better experience.
I think they should totally throw it out and do single payer healthcare. I have like, I'm going to be honest, like
address the sleeping at work argument. What is the sleeping at work argument?
What the fuck?
I don't really care what they do until they do that.
I did the right thing from a human standpoint, but you know, I'm sort of proud of my decision. At the same time, sometimes I regret it. I told the people, and I gave them the money to do it. I said, fix it, make it work, because people would have suffered.
Mm-hmm. This is not true.
But it's too bad that they voted no. I wish John McCain...
This is just not true. Why are you saying, Asmongold, and just taking that as a fact?
Now, this is an auto insurance website, so maybe their stats are biased. Okay, I don't know. The most common commuting modes. In 2022, 77% of Americans drove, 69% drove alone, 9% carpooled. Public transportation, excluding a taxi, 3%.
I wish he fought for 10 years on replacing Obamacare for 10 years, and then he voted against. Nobody understands.
Sir, you said during the campaign you had concepts of a plan. Do you have an actual plan at this point for health care?
Yes, we have concepts of a plan that would be better.
Still just concepts? Do you have a fully developed plan?
Let me explain.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't have a full plan. There's no plan.
Hey. Pushback. He's supposed to have one. He kept saying he had a plan, but he doesn't.
No.
What was that? What the fuck is wrong with her? This lady literally hates this man. He's thinking.
We have
Single pay going to hurt the lower and middle income way too much. 50% taxes, wage too high.
I love it. I agree. I don't know
the biggest healthcare company.
Still just concepts. The plan is no plan. Why are her eyes like that? Does she do cocaine? I don't like her.
He's looking at it. We
based cocaine usage, am I right?
have doctors. We're always looking because Obamacare stinks. It's lousy. There are better answers. If we come up with a better,
I think that RFK, what they need to do whenever he gets in charge, assuming that happens, right? Big assume, but they need to make it to where you can't take electives in high school. That
bro, just acting like bikes and electric scooters don't exist. Not even to mention a lot of the people.
I want to know what he's gonna say there. I'm curious. What the fuck?
My town just walk to work. I'm so sorry, my friend. Okay. The difference between me and you is that I'll just look at stats and numbers to figure out what's going on, and then I'll talk to a lot of people to try to flesh out my opinion more if I need to. You have your one lived experience, and then you scream it in my chat, and then you just say that I'm out of touch when you are giving one of the most niche. What did that poll say? Was it 1% of people who walk to work? What percentage of people in the United States of America even have the opportunity to walk to work? Like, I'm sorry, but you're just giving a fucking delusional take. 1% used a bicycle, 2% walked. The fuck out of here.
Why are we still going on about this?
replace physical.
How many people work from home that poll? It's at 15%, which is a huge number. I wonder if that went up.
Oh my god, fucking bad in this game.
After COVID. Yes, holy shit. In 2019, it was 6%, then 7%, then 18%, and then 15%. Almost tripled. Damn.
Education, and physical education is mandatory for everybody. Because the real issue, you can't take electives in high school that replace physical education, and physical education is mandatory for everybody.
Okay.
Because the real issue, the reason why people need health.
I'm sorry, just as a quick thing, PE in high school wouldn't do fuck all for improving the health of the United States. Like, it might be better than nothing. Well, also, what the fuck do you think PE is? Wait, what? I'm sorry. Sorry, hold on. Let me back up, because maybe my schooling experience was different. What was PE for you guys in high school? Because it was like a health class for us. Like, sometimes we did, I think, we did like basketball or random shit, but generally it was like in class and it was a health class, and you wrote about like, I don't even remember what the fuck, like a health bio or health sciences, basically. I guess if instead of PE, if it was literally just like you had to fucking go to the gym for 45 minutes, that would maybe be good, but...
Healthcare, they need more healthcare. It's because everybody's fat and they don't do anything.
So here's my thing. I think it would be great if schools would actually meaningfully teach kids to do stuff. But let's be real, right? You ever heard the expression, those who can't do, teach, and those who can't teach gym? It's kind of true. Gym teachers are usually fucking worthless. Like, they don't know what they're doing. When I was in school, like, we'd run the mile and we'd play some sports. But it's like, that's not something that's good for the average everyday American to keep up on physical fitness. Like, what about a walking class? I know that sounds ridiculous, but if everybody walked a half an hour a day, I know I'm fat, but if everybody walked a half an hour a day, you'd be healthier whether you're fat or skinny. Right? What about an actual weightlifting class that taught people how to actually weight train? Not just PE, like, not just like, oh, hey, you do the bench machine, do this. No, like, what if these classes taught you how to actually design a routine, how to identify when you're overtrained, progressive overload when it comes to like increasing your weights, right? What if they did that? Meaningful exercise science. What if your textbook was like, Starting Strength by Mark Ripto or Wendler 531? What if you watched Alan Thrall and Dr. Mike Israetel videos? I'm not making a joke. That would be fantastic. It's not just about, go do a sport. It's about how do you maintain physical fitness, and how do you teach young people to maintain physical fitness, and you would have to do something more meaningful. So, like, yeah, it would be good for everybody to do a gym class, but the gym classes just exist to exist. They don't do anything that meaningful in any real capacity. So that would be good. And like, yeah, I know you had strength training classes. I had strength training. What did I say? Strength training. I had strength training classes too. They didn't teach you anything. It's a fucking idiot gym teacher who wears shorts so his big fat balls stick out, that doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, telling everybody to bench and deadlift every single day. There's nobody with any meaningful understanding of like exercise science at all. In these schools. Gym teachers are just kind of there. They don't do a goddamn thing, most of them. So if you want to actually have some kind of like a fitness class, you should be able to tell the young people, tell your kids, pick what you want to do. Do you want to walk? Do you want to strength train? Do you want to bicycle? Do you want to... and let them do what they want to do. Do you want to do yoga, like Zumba, and let them learn to do what they want to do and have fun with it? Because that's the number one way that you're going to stick to, being healthy, or is to learn something you like. Maybe it's because I'm older. Maybe it's because I'm older and we had shittier classes. But I would say that you have to implement that as well.
Like if you go back and you look at videos and photos of high schools back in the day, people were in much better shape than they are now.
Yeah, but
because back then we didn't have so much of a technology focus to make us much more lazy.
You have to. The food is the most important part to address here.
I would say I honestly don't even think it's the food. It's a food is a problem, but the food's not the most important thing to address. It's that what did you used to do back in the day? Parents used to not love their kids and they'd say come back at 8 o'clock at night. That's why there was all these things that are like 10 p.m. Do you know where your child is? Right? People were outside more. The only hobbies they could do were outside. Now we have video games, we have computers, and we're staying at home. So the food is absolutely a factor, and we need to have healthier food, 100%. But it's not just the food. It's what is the average American's level of physical fitness nowadays? The kids are staying inside and playing video games. People are afraid to even let their kids go out in the first place. There's a whole culture around not letting your kid go outside because you're afraid for their safety and playing video games. So it is fitness, physical fitness. And it's food, it's diet, it's exercise, it's everything.
The adding the gym or health bullshit will make that's a 2% improvement, and food is a 90% improvement.
I see I'm driving to fucking Burger King and I see all the high school kids. There's so many fat kids. Holy shit! Look at all the hogs.
It's just weird for Asmongold to make fun of somebody's health because he's less healthier than me. This guy was picking his teeth off out of his mouth and throwing them at the wall. He's to be there's so many fat kids. Dude, you are basically a fat kid. You're a skinny fat kid.
Piglets walking around. You can't have that. What is that? No.
Okay.
Fuck them. Yeah, consumption's bad. Yeah, exactly.
Answer. I would present that answer to Democrats.
Even elementary school. You see all the little piglets walking home from school. You shouldn't be 170 pounds if you're in 4th grade.
Piglets.
That's too much. Stop eating food. They eat too much. Yes. And you have physical education become mandatory. JFK.
The market can't solve for roads the exact same way it does for healthcare. Roads necessarily has to be a public good, and healthcare does not. It's simple theory. I don't know what that statement even means. There's a lot of public good in investing in healthcare because we all have to bear the cost publicly, and we all benefit from having healthy citizens. And I think there are a lot of external failures when it comes to healthcare. That's why there's so much government involvement in healthcare already, even though it is a quote-unquote private market.
Okay, actually had a national mandate for exercising our youth. His speech even speaks to it, and about not being right seeing a chubby child. I completely agree with that. I do, 100%. And I think also it's going to help. So the issue is that being fat and being unhealthy is something that causes secondary effects and tertiary effects as well. So basically there's this.
Didn't you guys do the fitness gram pacer test? No, I think because I went to a private school, I don't think we had that. That might have only been a public school thing.
PE is already required. So when he says all these things, they don't really do anything. PE is already required. It's how meaningful is the PE that's happening though? That's actually making people do what they're supposed to do. That's the question here.
Causes secondary effects and tertiary effects as well. So basically there's this second order effect of being fat that now you have low self-esteem. And then the third order effect of now you have depression because girls don't want to talk to you because you're fucking fat. So if
well, the girls are also fat, so it's that one actually kind of works itself out.
RFK puts your fat ass on a treadmill and you're not fat and you look normal, well then maybe they'd be wanting to talk to you. You wouldn't have as much depression.
So I'll be real. I kind of agree with Asmongold here, and he's saying it insensitively. But I still agree with him, but it's just weird coming from the guy who has taken all of his fucking teeth out of his goddamn face because he let them rot out of his mouth and then threw them at the wall and ate maggot-covered donuts. It's hard to take that guy seriously when he's talking about health in the United States. I don't think Asmongold has ever done or has. I don't think he's ever done anything healthy. I'm fat, but I'm kind of built, right? So I do healthy things. I'm actually looking kind of good. I do healthy things. I'm fat, but I do healthy things. Asmongold sits. It's weird coming from Asmongold. It's I don't know. He's just he's a skinny person with fat energy. He has all the bad habits, probably worse habits of a morbidly obese person who puts bottles of piss in his room. He just happens to be skinny. It's just he's the kind of guy that gags when he tastes water. Like, I don't. It's weird. It's just so strange. So strange.
If I was Barack, I would be having my fucking wife on a 24/7 psychiatric hold for the next 2 years. Because if I was Michelle Obama, I would fucking kill myself hearing conservatives finally pretending to give a fuck about the health of children in schools when this was like her whole fucking push, and conservatives basically shit on her for the entire 4 years that she was like pushing this. They shit on her so much for, you want to make vegetables and blah, 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 the government overreach, blah. They attacked Michelle so much over this. And now all of a sudden they're...
You wouldn't feel fucking upset and everything would be fine. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, you have less incels. That's it. You look at the symptoms and you don't fix the disease. That's a problem. I heavily disagree with this being a legal mandate. I don't. I think that schools right now...
Healthcare does not have to be a public good. Roads do have to be public goods. I don't know what you mean by that. That's not necessarily true. We have private roads. That's what a turnpike is. You could theoretically have private roads. Well, you could just charge people fees for... I was shooting heroin and reading The Fountainhead in the front seat of my privately owned police cruiser when a call came in. I put a quarter in the radio to activate it. It was the chief. Bad news, detective. We got a situation. What? Is the mayor trying to ban trans fats again? Worse. Somebody just stole $447 million worth of bitcoins. The heroin needle practically fell out of my arm. What kind of monster would do something like that? Bitcoins are the ultimate currency. Virtual, anonymous, stateless. They represent true economic freedom, not subject to arbitrary manipulation by any government. Do we have any leads? Not yet, but mark my words. We're going to figure out who did this. We're going to take them down, provided someone pays us a fair market rate to do so. Easy, Chief, I said. Any rate the market offers is, by definition, fair. He laughed. That's why you're the best I got, Lazowski. Now you get out there and find those bitcoins.
Why is he Jewish?
Don't worry, I said. I'm on it. I put a quarter in the siren. 10 minutes later, I was on the scene. It was a normal office building, strangled on all sides by public sidewalks. I hopped over them and I went inside. Home Depot presents the police, I said, flashing my badge.
Fucking Home Depot presents the police. That's fucking preposterous. What is this?
My gun and a small picture of Ron Paul. Nobody moves unless you want to. They didn't. Now, which one of you punks is going to pay me to investigate this crime? No one spoke. Come on, I said. Don't you all understand that the protection of private property is the foundation of all personal liberty? It didn't seem like they did. Seriously, guys, without a strong economic motivator, I'm just going to stand here and not solve this case. Cash is fine, but I prefer being paid in gold bullion or autographed Penn Jillette posters. Nothing. These people were stonewalling me. It almost seemed like they didn't care that a fortune in computer money invented to buy drugs was missing. I figured I could wait them out. I lit several cigarettes indoors. A pregnant lady coughed, and I told her that secondhand smoke is a myth. Just then, a man in glasses made a break for it. Subway, eat fresh and freeze, scumbag, I yelled. Too late, he was already out the front door. I went after him. Stop right there, I yelled as I ran. He was faster than me, because I always try to avoid stepping on public sidewalks. Our country needs a private sidewalk voucher system, but thanks to the incestuous interplay between our corrupt federal government and the public sidewalk lobby, it'll never happen. I was losing him. Listen, I'll pay you to stop, I yelled. What would you consider an appropriate price point for stopping? I'll offer you 1/13 of an ounce of gold and a gently worn Bob Barr 2008 extra large long sleeve men's t-shirt. He turned. In his hand was a revolver, and the Constitution said that he had every right to own. He fired at me and missed. I pulled my own gun, put a quarter in it, and fired back. The bullet lodged in a USPS mailbox less than a foot from his head. I shot the mailbox again, on purpose. All right, the man yelled, throwing down his weapon. I give up, cop. I confess. I took the bitcoins. Why'd you do it? I asked, as I slapped a pair of Oiko's Greek yogurt presents handcuffs on the guy. Because I was afraid. Afraid? Afraid of an economic future, free from the pernicious meddling of central bankers, he said. I'm a central banker. I wanted to cold cock the guy. Years ago, a central banker killed my partner. Instead, I shook my head. Let this be a message to all your central banker friends out in the street, I said. No matter how many bitcoins you steal, you'll never take away the dream of an open society based on the principles of personal and economic freedom. He nodded because he knew I was right. Wow. Then he swiped his credit card to pay me.
beautiful. I don't know what the fuck that was, but I know it was beautiful. What the fuck was that?
I don't know why we read this.
That was incredible. I've never heard that before, but that was amazing.
And also, it is a legal mandate now. Like, you're required to take physical education in a lot of places.
So then why are you saying that you would need to, like, if you're already, okay.
All I'm saying is that you change that to where you can't take art and replace that.
Can you do that? I just feel like that's not true.
Drawing anime girls should not replace walking a mile.
They never let you walk the mile. They fucking yell at you. I would still do it though, so.
It doesn't make sense.
What if we drew and walked at the same time?
What if Drew Barrymore?
Else, and I do something
The worst joke I've ever made.
about it. But
Wasn't
until
even a
we
joke.
have that, or until they can approve it, but we're not going to go through the big deal. I am the one that saved Obamacare. I will say,
He ruined Obamacare, but okay.
and I did the right thing. I could have done the more political
I saved Obamacare by ruining it.
thing and killed it. And all I had to do is starve it to death.
You did try to have your Justice Department effectively kill it, though,
No,
sir.
kill it.
Oh, and then another thing?
I like how he just stops it like every time there's something critical of.
Oh, he cummed a little bit on that one.
He's not even like commenting. He just doesn't even care.
Is that for all school meals, meat only.
That's. So I almost used a slur. That's stupid. Why would you do meat only? Why wouldn't you do a balanced school meal of like a leaner meat, maybe a vegetable, and then like, yeah, something sweet isn't a terrible idea. You have kids, especially if they're going to be going to gym. That short-term sugar energy could be a very positive thing.
You have hamburgers on Mondays and Thursdays.
That's not meat only. Hamburgers are very fatty. What the fuck are you talking about?
You have chicken on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and then on Friday you got steak. Vegans? As I said, meat only. We want people to be healthy.
Steak? Hold on. I just have to re-listen to what he just said.
And then on Fridays, you have hamburgers on Mondays.
Okay, the traditionally very fatty meat. Okay.
And Thursdays, you have chicken on Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
Chicken is a good idea.
And then on Friday, you got steak.
I don't know why you'd have a steak, but okay. I guess it's fine as long as it's a lean burger. I know he's just like memeing it up a little bit, but okay.
Vegans?
Am I done here?
As I said, meat only. We want people to be healthy.
Bullshit.
Maybe you can make a garden out in the back for
What is he trolling? Or
I think this is his idea of a joke, yeah.
like the rabbits or something, and then the vegans can go out there. Maybe have fish. Yeah, fish alternative. Meat every day. That's the way it is. What about fish? Fish is fine.
from a legal standpoint,
Yep.
but from a physical standpoint,
I like broccoli. I feel like roughage is much more important. I'm fucking.
I made it work.
In your concepts of a plan, sir,
We're bringing back scurvy with this. This is true.
will people with pre-existing conditions still have coverage, and can you guarantee their prices
Why am
will
I
not go
The
up?
answer is yes, they'll have coverage. You have to have it.
And what about their
because
prices?
you know what?
What about their prices, sir?
I want the prices to go down. I want to have better health care for less money. And there are ways of doing it, I believe. And I
You
have
have to take out the
It's true, but you haven't proposed it.
middlemen that are making money off of it for no fucking reason. I mean, I gotta say, like, Luigi was right with that. Like, healthcare insurance is a fucking scam. It shouldn't exist.
true. Based.
I'm surprised that this didn't trigger Destiny into an unhinged rant. I'm surprised.
You shouldn't shoot the people that work there, but he was fucking right. He's
Yeah, you should have choked him.
completely right.
I don't know why. And this is probably just a really weird criticism. That felt like the most ingenuine thing I've ever heard Asmongold say. I don't even think he believes that. I don't know why that felt so ingenuine. Maybe I'm just like, that might just be me being stupid. So you can take that with a grain of salt. But it just felt like he did not actually mean anything he just said.
I have the smartest people in that world. You know, that's a separate world unto itself. I have the smartest people in that world
The smartest.
looking at it and trying. And if they come up with something, I will present it. Now, maybe you won't be able to sell it, but
Yep.
if we get better health care for less money, I believe it's very saleable.
Just very quickly, when will we see your fully developed plan? When are you
Well,
going to
I
show
don't know
the
that you'll
public
see it at all. I can only say that we have some of the best healthcare people. I've always
That's reassuring.
tinkered with it.
All right, we got the first bit of meaningful pushback against Trump, and it was not very aggressive.
I think
That's not very assuring. Okay.
it's a little hard to explain. Obamacare, when I took it over, was a disaster. And I made
It
it
has insured
workable.
20 million people.
Yeah, because of me. Because of
No.
me.
Not at all. Okay.
Oh, man.
I got to see the reaction of that.
Jesus.
If you look at what I did, I was the one. I made it good.
You
Yeah,
tried to
legally.
repeal and replace it. You tried to
because
kill
if I
it,
repealed
sir.
it and replaced it, we would have had a better system because we wouldn't have had health care. And the Democrats would have been forced to do something. If we wouldn't have had it, the Democrats would have been forced to do something that they wouldn't do if we have it.
Yep. Insurance companies fine. They just need regular.
I'm not. What was that? What is that criticism? I don't understand. Yup. Yup to what? Yup to what? Trump came in the first term. He promised he could repeal and replace it with something better. Couldn't do it, and then gave up. And now he still doesn't have a plan. Fucking what? 8 years later, and you're just like, "Yup." What is true about that? Okay.
Just what is the? I don't even know.
In Europe, you have it, and they basically can't deny anything. Hospital deals with them directly. You never hear anything about it. It's just like utilities. Yeah, maybe that'd be a better solution. Yeah, sure.
The what? Wait.
They wouldn't do if we have it.
Yep. Insurance companies fine. They just need regulation. In Europe, you have it, and they basically can't deny anything. Hospital deals with them directly. You never hear anything about it. It's just like utilities. Yeah, maybe that'd be a better solution. Yeah, sure.
Oh, I mean, this is just like single payer, basically, right?
Yep.
That was a disaster because of Obama. Saved 20 million because of him. This guy's dope.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So, Wade, want to say content has been great lately? Thanks, man. Yeah. Was Obamacare really that bad? It helped me a lot when I needed coverage. Obamacare had a lot of good things, like, for example, how you couldn't deny people for pre-existing conditions. Yes. The thing is that a lot of people, it was so long ago now, people don't remember how much of trouble it was for people to get healthcare coverage when you could deny them based off of pre-existing conditions.
True.
Okay. So it's kind of like an issue where basically, so it increased the cost.
Yeah, it increased the cost so that everybody would have access to healthcare. And it actually went up under Trump because he cut the single-payer mandate. Yeah, we know that. So that it wasn't like being subsidized by everybody. Okay.
The saturation of camera. No, the color spaces that this camera, I think, naturally shoots in doesn't play well with OBS. So somebody gave me a LUT for it. If you think it's too saturated, then send me a different LUT for the camera. Get fucked.
Because obviously, like, the reason why okay, so let me take a step back. How do insurance companies make money? They make money by averaging against actuarial tables, which are basically degrees of risk. They look at somebody's age, they look at all of their demographics, and then they have a calculator for how much money this person will probably cost. So basically, when you have to add in people that are really big draws on that. So, like, for example,
I'm fucking shocked. I would have bet so much money that he would have absolutely no idea how any of this works. So I'm shocked that he understands this.
Add in somebody who's disabled, right? Somebody has cerebral palsy, for example. This is going to massively increase the average. So if you have an average of people that are relatively healthy, you can afford to keep your premiums lower and maintain the same profit, right? And so, again, the profit, you could say, is the problem, but this is a for-profit company, so we're just going to assume that's what's going to happen. And so what happens is that the insurance companies, what they do is they effectively try to take the people out of the system that would cost a lot of money. Because, like, these are the people, the extremes, that raise everybody else's costs up. And so that's what the insurance companies used to do, and then they became compelled to have to give them insurance anyway, which is how it should have been. Oh.
So you agree Obamacare is good, then? Okay.
Wait, say that last part again?
And so that's what the insurance companies used to do, and then they became compelled.
I'm going up a fucking wall, not being able to like figure out where this last thing is. It says that I still have to search for the cleanse the things.
To have to give them insurance anyway, which is how it should have been. Oh. Bro. He's not even the president. He's doing this shit. State 51. It was a pleasure to have dinner the other night with a huge wedge issue with a lot of people. I never said this can't be real. I used to think that. Jesus, how's he posting this much?
They do this, but their profits aren't directly from premium deltas. Where else do insurance companies' revenue come from besides premiums? What other revenues do they have? I genuinely don't know.
Dude, what am I supposed to do here? I got all three of these done, and like for whatever reason, it's not like calculating that they're all fucking done.
What are insurance companies' largest revenues? Health insurance. Investing? In what? In like T-bonds or like the market or?
Oh, there's another one. Dude, I'm so stupid. Holy fuck.
Oh, Statista, this dog shit fucking website. I hate this site. I don't trust it. Same as pension, they do market investments. Gotcha. Well, wait, if you say page 41. Well, if you say investments, though, investments are made off of their premiums, right?
Sure.
Revenues. United Health Group. Is this in millions of dollars? In millions. Okay. So off of premiums, they made 290 billion. Products, 42 billion. Services, 34 billion. Investments and other incomes, 4 billion. Wait. Does anybody have any other source on the investment part, or did all of you just collectively make that up? Anybody? I'm going to use the restroom real quick. When I come back, there better be a post in here about them making a huge amount of money from investments, or else I'm going back and I'm banning every fucking person that said that. Be right back. 1 sec. Nope. Okay, gotcha. So we just... Interesting. We just made all that up. Okay. Destiny, what do you feel about this? A Florida woman has been charged for ending a call with Blue Cross Blue Shield with the words, delay, deny, depose, you people are next. She was charged with threats to conduct a mass shooting or an act of terrorism, and her bond was set at $100,000.
Based alert.
Destiny, it is true for insurance companies more broadly. Why? Who cares? We're not talking about insurance companies more broadly. We're talking about health insurance companies, which are regulated probably a lot differently than the other insurance companies.
He doesn't give a fuck. He actually doesn't give a fuck now. This is going to be insane. America is going to start building monuments again. Any person investing $1 billion or more in the United States will receive fully expedited approvals and permits. Oh boy, oh boy. Let's see. Oh, this is him retweeting Biden falling asleep. President of our lifetime about him. Oh my fucking God.
Let's talk about Project 2025. This is the conservative policy blueprint. You disavowed it during the campaign. You called it a product of the radical right.
Yeah.
You've said some of their ideas were abysmal.
I said some of it is. Some of it is very...
I love how it gets elected. I never said... Of course we're going to do Project 2025. Yeah, I mean, duh.
Very good. Some of it's very mainstream, actually. Frankly, the Democrats should have used some of it because they went, with all the transgender that they were doing, or with the men playing in women's sports. Well, if they wouldn't have done that, maybe they would have done better.
Well,
Trump's right. He's completely right. This was a huge wedge issue with a lot of people because...
It's not a real issue, though. Like, it's like trans women playing in sports was never a real issue. Like, it's a conversation to be had. It's not an actual issue. It's a sensitivity issue. It matters not at all. Like, no conservatives voted on, like, healthcare meaningfully. That's something that matters to everybody. But they voted on fucking trans people in the bathrooms or within sports because they're fucking idiots. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Like, it's literally a moron point. It's not real. It's not an actual problem. It's like number fucking 25 on the list of problems we have in America. Thank you for the 4-month small gut from Meat from the Deli. Thank you for gooning with us today, Papa. I love you. Thank you so much.
It was a direct insult to people's intelligence.
So you take my question.
With a lot.
No, it's because fucking conservatives are like so worked up over fucking people in the bathroom for some reason. It's literally all it is. There was no actual meaningful issue when it comes to the fucking people in the bathrooms.
They would have done better. Well, with the men playing in women's sports.
Like, yeah, he's right. They would have done better if they started talking about a populist issue that did not actually matter. They made the mistake of thinking people were fucking sane.
Well, if they wouldn't have done that, maybe they would have done better. Well,
Trump's right. He's completely right.
Why? Like, notice that how selective it is for the shit that he gives a fuck about, like the deportation of the birth, like revoking birthright citizenship, like all the wacky goofy things he said before. Like, these are just like he's like not even listening. And then it's like trans people. Oh yeah, he's absolutely correct. This is a huge issue. Thanks, Nate, for giving 11 subs.
This was a huge wedge issue with a lot of people because it was a direct insult to people's intelligence.
So you take my question. You're now giving people involved in Project 2025 prominent roles in your administration. Are you changing your mind about Project 2025? Is this now the policy blueprint for the second Trump administration?
Some people, if you take a look at the group, it was hundreds of people were involved. And I was actually, I reprimanded the whole group. I said, you shouldn't have placed this document in front of the voters because I have nothing to do with it and I'm the one that's running. You had no right to do this where you put a 1,000-page document in front, and many of those things I disagree with. Now, many of those things I happen to agree with. Many of those things Democrats...
After he said he hasn't read or doesn't know anything. Okay.
Should have agreed to. And I think they would have done much better in the election because they got slaughtered.
Well, I guess people see the list. Russ Vought, Brendan Carr, Peter Navarro, John Ratcliffe, Pete Hoekstra, Monica Crowley.
The inventor has some intentions. Yeah, it's pretty obvious, that she's not a fan of Trump. Yeah.
Why? She's like going totally... What are you talking about? Just asking him questions. I don't understand why people ask you. She's a fucking reporter doing her job, asking questions. She doesn't. She barely pushes back. Why do you think that she doesn't like him? Thank you for the $5 from Z King. I hate how we are gaslit by Trump and the right about Trump having nothing to do with Project 2025 and would never do anything with it. And then he says this. Yeah, I mean, he disavowed it originally, and now he's obviously walking back on that. So I haven't read it. So
this is why you should feel bad if you're in the mainstream media. You should also feel bad because you're doing all this work just to try to get them to respect you, and they won't. These people are authoritarians. These people are fashy fucks. They're not going to respect you ever, right? Asmongold doesn't give a fuck that this is one of the most this isn't even softball. This is T-ball. This is one of the most T-ball interviews I've ever seen in my fucking life. And dipshits like this chud fuck are still saying things like, oh yeah, well, you know, it's obvious that she fucking hates Trump. Like, oh, she's trying to set him up so much she's trying to trigger him with the picture. Like, why are you even trying? Why not just like do a real interview? You're never, ever getting people like this to say that you're doing a good job. You're never going to do it. So why not just...
That's a good point. Why treat Trump like a baby? They're always going to think that you hate Trump anyway, so you might as well treat him like an actual person. Stop putting the kid gloves on. A good point.
They think these are all the people who are involved in or writing Project 2025. This must be a blueprint for work requirements, eliminating the Head Start program, criminalizing pornography. Is that what we can expect
I don't
to
know
see?
how they voted. I don't know. I never spoke to them actually about it.
Head Start programs, I'm pretty sure statistically have like really good outcomes for young people staying in school and finishing it.
And I purposely, and I told you, normally it would be just the opposite. I'd review every page. I purposely didn't even want to see it. Because when somebody like you asked me a question about Project 2025, I can honestly say I've never seen it. I have nothing to do with it. I didn't read it, but
I believe that. I don't think you read it.
Okay. I don't think he reads much of anything. So yeah, sure, I believe that too. What's your point?
Well, then what do you feel?
But the problem is that he originally completely disavowed Project 2025, and now he's like, no, actually, there's some good things about it, which is concerning because there are some really terrible things about it. Like she said, removing the Head Start program, which is getting kids into like preschools, which drastically increases the outcome that somebody will finish school. There's things in there about taking away people's ability to work if they are disabled. I don't like this is not a good. It's not a good thing for him to be like, yeah, you know what? There's some good stuff. Like what? You know?
Feel about him saying there are things that he agrees with about it, and things that he doesn't like.
I don't think he did.
Fuck me, man.
Does anybody actually think he read it?
Okay.
Of course not.
What's your point?
I did hear some things in there that I would totally disagree with.
Yeah.
And I said to the people that were really the people behind it, you know who those people are?
So how can he disagree with some of the things in it? Is he just admitting to making shit up, or that other people are filling him in on it, or?
I said, you really had no right doing this to me because they used it as a soundbite, the Democrats. And I don't know, it couldn't have been too effective because they got slaughtered, but they did use it as a soundbite.
But to people who see, oh, he's bringing in all of these people from Project 2025, he must know what it is.
Well,
you say
know,
what?
I don't know what it is, no. I don't know what it is.
Here's the reason why. Is like, I'm sure there's something, if it's a 1,000-page document, there's probably something in Project 2025 that I agree with. But like, it doesn't mean I agree with everything. It's like, you can't...
Then like, wouldn't the point of a good interview or an honest man be to say, these are the things that I agree with, these are the things that I disagree with, instead of just...
All he has to do is have somebody else read it for him and just be like, oh, this is what was in there. That's all he doesn't have to read it himself.
Speaking of these vague bullshit-ass generalities that leave us no more informed at the end of the interview than we were at the very beginning. Like, wouldn't that be the next stage of the conversation?
Can't look at an idea and be like, okay, well, you have a shopping basket full of ideas. You have to take the entire basket and take everything at the same time. No. There are ideas that exist independently, and if this is a good idea, then do it. If it's not, then don't. It's very simple.
You still don't know
but
what
I
it is?
heard
All these
certain
people
things
are
that I
coming
didn't
in
like.
your...
And by the way,
Yeah.
I heard certain things that are phenomenal. Okay?
Like what?
Well,
Like law and order. We want law and order. Okay? Little things like, let's put prisoners in jail. Let's not let people come out and raid every drugstore in Manhattan so that we have to put glass up and every store is going out of business.
I think a lot of people agree with that. I mean, I know I do. I think that the majority of people agree with that.
Sure. Probably do that without the whole disabilities. People can't work, but okay.
Is that not already the law? No, it's not. Well, I mean, so basically they did this for a while. I don't know if they still are doing it. Where basically they said that if you stole something of less of, I think it was $1,000, they weren't going to like go after you. So like that's what it was. Enforce the law? Yeah, right. And this is why like a lot of the stores now.
I guess $1,000 is not a lot out there because they it's not a whole lot out there, right? Because California and all the value of money out there. We're talking about minimum wage before. Now, obviously, it's a stupid idea, but I'm just gonna die here. I can't with it.
I mean, I swear to God. I mean, the jewelry stores have less security than a fucking CVS in some of these photos I see. I'll be right back.
And what did they do? They deleted and destroyed.
I agree. We should have more security in some places. I agree. It's very basic.
A whole year and
don't you think the leader should know the ideology and plans of those that they lead? His excuse.
Oh, whoa, what is that, a real chat question?
This is the you never read it for months. It's just ignorance by admission at this point. No, I don't think that, like... I don't think that...
I mean, like, yeah, he could have had somebody read it and then break it down for him if he wanted to, but he decided not to do that. So.
All of those ideas have to exist inside of each other. Yeah, I don't think you need to read, like... People have, like,
Same.
a very strong adherence to, like, an all-or-nothing perspective, where it's like, you either have to agree with all of these things or none of them, or you have to agree with another group of all of these things.
Yeah, but there are some things in Project 2025 that are just, like, horrific. So, like, it's not really... Okay.
Things or none of them. The fact is that there are a lot of ideas that people have that are good, independent.
But you don't know what ideas there are, and you don't know how much of those ideas are a dog whistle. So what are you talking about?
Independently of other ideas that are also bad.
Like if I said, like, hey guys, here's a lot of good ideas. We should repair the roads. We should strengthen the police. We should give more, money to churches, but we should also punch all white people in the fucking mouth. You'd go, you wouldn't go, well, I agree with some of those. You'd go like, oh, this guy obviously is fucking insane. That's what Project 2025 is. So like in there's things about restricting people with disabilities from being able to work. So I don't so like, what do you, like, what are you talking about? When he sits here and says these, he just sounds like so fucking stupid.
Now I want you to listen closely. Let's play a game.
Have like I think that all of no this is the don't you think the
We're gonna play a game. I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to listen closely to what Asmongold says. That's all you have to do. Close your eyes and listen closely to what Asmongold says. That's all you have to do.
Deleted and destroyed a whole year and a
don't you think the leader should know the ideology and plans of those that they lead? His excuse is that you never read it for months is just ignorance by admission at this point. No, I don't think that, like... I don't think that all of those ideas have to exist inside of each other. Yeah, I don't think you need to read, like... People have, like, a very strong adherence to, like, an all-or-nothing perspective, where it's like... You either have to agree with all of these things or none of them, or you have to agree with another group of all of these things or none of them. The fact is that there are a lot of ideas that people have that are good, independently of other ideas that are also bad.
Can you summarize what the f he just said? What the f did he just say?
Why can't I hit this guy? What's...
Destiny, why are people so hung up on whether Trump literally read the document itself? The authors are it's not. They're not. Hold on. Rugarg. Sorry. Hold on. Listen. Welcome. Come to the audience. Come sit in the audience, okay? For maybe the rest of my life. Now, my only goal is to just point out that this is theater, okay? Nobody actually believes this. You're watching a performance right now from Asmongold, okay? There are certain, like, in the philosophy of language, I think, right? There are maxims for conversations. I wish there were 4 of these. These are so good. And every single person... oh, it's the cooperative principle. Somebody emailed me about this. I read this. This is good. Intuitively, I'm going to read you something, but intuitively, you all know this, okay? Our talk exchanges do not normally consist of a succession of disconnected remarks and would not be rational if they did. They are characteristically, to some degree at least, cooperative efforts, and each participant recognizes in them, to some extent, a common purpose or set of purposes, or at least a mutually accepted direction. This purpose or direction may be fixed from the start, for example, by an initial proposal of a question for discussion, or it may evolve during the exchange. It may be fairly definite, or it may be so indefinite as to leave very considerable latitude to the participants, as in a casual conversation. But at each stage, some possible conversational moves would be excluded as conversationally unsuitable. We might then formulate a rough general principle which participants will be expected, ceteris paribus, to observe, namely, make your conversational contribution such as is required at the stage at which it occurs by the accepted purpose or direction of the talk exchange in which you are engaged. One might label this the cooperative principle. On the assumption that some such general principle as this is acceptable, one may perhaps distinguish 4 categories under one or another of which will fall certain more specific maxims and submaxims, the following of which will, in general, yield results in accordance with the cooperative principle. Echoing Kant, I call these categories quantity, quality, relation, and manner. Basically, this just goes through, these are all things that you know these things like intuitively. Like you don't really need these explained, but this is more like a descriptive thing, like trying to describe, like how do humans contribute to conversations in ways that work, right? So for instance, right, like if I were to ask you,
it's like so much harder to play than like a monk. This is so stupid. Like having no ranged attacks really fucks you in the ass.
what'd you do today? Just by saying that, there's a whole bunch of shit that is, like, it's assumed what that answer is going to be, right? If you go, what did you do today? And somebody says, at 8 a.m., I ceased snoring and I rolled over and I opened my phone and I turned off my alarm clock. At 8:01 a.m., I put my left foot and then my right foot out of the bed. I sat up and then I walked into the bathroom. At 8:02 a.m., I washed my face a little bit. Like, this is not, what the fuck, right? Now they're answering the question correctly, like syntactically correctly, right? If we were computers, well, they're not doing anything wrong, but like cooperatively, this is not what is being asked, right? It's not really what we're asking when we say this, you know? Now, one of the common things that Trumples will do, and a lot of people do this if they're being bad faith, is when you start to collapse some of these maxims for manipulation or disinformation purposes to try to pretend that you're not actually doing anything or saying anything incorrect, right? So when somebody says, hold on, did you read Project 2025? Everybody, but the thing is, everybody knows this. Everybody knows, including Asmongold, because remember, this is a performance, this is a play. Everybody knows. Nobody's asking, did you sit down and go through the 900 plus pages and actually read word for word everything in Project 2025? What they're asking is, are you familiar with the rough ideas in it? And are you aware that people around you are trying to get these ideas passed in government? And then are you yourself trying to get these ideas passed? That's what everybody knows is to be true. So when Trump breaks some of these cooperative principles, says, I haven't read it exactly, he's acting in bad faith. And
Thank you for the $5 from Jackass Zito. Hey, Papa Gut. Just got back to Albuquerque from a Navy funeral in Cuba. NM voted Harris, but I swore to uphold the Constitution. Respect to Mr. Trump. All right, fair enough, brother. Fair enough.
who know this because later on he acts in good faith, or when he's saying like, well, you know, there's some good ideas and there's some bad ideas, and like, well, hold on, wait, I thought you didn't read it. Well, nobody's really asking if you read it cover to cover. Nobody's asking that. That's not really.
They're asking if you Twittered it.
What's being, and everybody knows it. So this by Asmongold and by Donald Trump and by the reporter, this is all a performance, right? Everybody knows that this is like bullshit right now. This is all a performance.
The fact is that there are a lot of ideas that people have that are good independently of other ideas that are also bad.
Sorry.
And destroyed. And what did they do? They deleted and destroyed a whole year and a half worth of testimony. Do you know that I think those people committed a major crime.
Sir?
And Cheney was behind it.
Well,
and so was Benny Thompson and everybody on that committee.
So to break this, you have to ask autistically specific questions. I don't think you can break this. Like, language relies on some level of cooperation. And remember, norms and all of these things only work when both sides are respectful. If one side is going to break the norms, there's no way that you break through. Because there's an infinite way. You've seen this with manipulative or abusive people on my stream, right? There's no way to actually break through. Because what are you going to say? Well, hold on, wait, what do you mean? You're like, oh, I didn't say anything wrong, right? I didn't technically lie. And then people like Asmongold will agree, yeah, he's not lying. I agree. He probably didn't actually read the thing, right? And then if you want to support that point, there's a meta idea here about like, well, I need to support Donald Trump at all costs, right? So then you'll bob and weave and break and adhere to these particular maxims and sub-maxims so long as they further that point of supporting Donald Trump. You can't win that argument because language at the end of the day is cooperative, and if one side is willing to break the rules, then there's no way you can't do it. I mean, I guess you could point it out, but like the problem is so many other people are willing to play along with the bad faith person, right? Because if she were to say, well, excuse me, sir, I didn't mean actually read the thing, then you'll say, oh, well, then why would you say read the thing? And now everybody's going to be playing stupid. That's true. Why did she say read the thing, right? Why did she say that? You always accuse me of reading or not reading the particular thing. I thought that was the issue. So now it's just if I heard of it, right? And it's just going to be this game. You can't, yeah.
We're going to,
For what they did.
yeah.
I guess that she could have asked you like a general understanding of like most of the points in there.
Honestly, they should go to jail.
So you think Liz Cheney should go to jail?
For what they did.
Everyone on the committee, you think
I think
should
everybody
go to jail.
anybody that voted in
Are
favor.
you going to direct your
Yeah, he's not going to do that.
FBI director and
No.
your attorney general to send them to
No,
jail?
not at all. I think that they'll have to look at that, but I'm going to focus on drill, baby, drill.
When you say that,
on
it carries
strengthening
weight,
the-
though. You've tapped these people to lead the Justice Department and FBI.
None of these important people are going to jail. They're not going to jail, guys. I know, obviously, it feels good to think about maybe it's going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Why would they go to jail for what? What did they do wrong? I don't understand.
They can do whatever they want.
Yeah, they're too rich.
Right?
Yeah, if you
And
have
what
a
did
lot
they
of...
do?
Oh, they're too rich. Oh.
Is that why Trump didn't go to jail, or?
How rich is Liz Cheney? Oof. It's never a good sign when they're writing out your net worth in every number. I'm sorry. $14 million, $15 million net worth. That's super loaded. Wow. She's ready to go. Well, this has 47 million. Huge inheritance. This has 20 million. How rich do you need to be immune from the federal government? Why does he frame it like this? Why does he get away with it? For Asmongold, I don't know. My guess is that the thing that Asmongold cares the most about is like Gamergate adjacent things, and Trump probably aligns more cleanly with that, and his audience aligns more cleanly with that. So there's probably a lot of pressure to support Trump because of his audience, and there's probably a lot of like psychosocial pressure, I guess, like psychologically, like he aligns with Trump on some things, like the woke mob shit, and he doesn't care as much about like other boring shit like foreign or domestic policy. So there's like a lot of like internal pressure to support him there. That's my guess, but
money, and you're in politics like this, very, very unlikely that's going to happen. Extremely unlikely. Reporters baiting? Yeah, sure.
Why is the reporter baiting?
I think it's really good to talk about your...
Reporter is baiting by asking a question? Like... Destiny really not going to look at combined ratio of 100%? That's the biggest misconception, is that premiums directly make the money. It's the time and investment of premiums before paying the claim. What are you talking about? Isn't health insurance like a revolving pay door like all the time? It's not like you pay into insurance and then make these huge like withdrawals later on, like life insurance or something, no? I feel like money is probably coming in and going out literally all the time. Would be my guess.
Reporters baiting? Yeah, sure. I think it's really good to talk about...
I don't know. Look at what combined ratio...
Thank you for $5 from Mason. Did we forget Trump was a billionaire? Yes, they forgot Trump was a billionaire. When he says, when Asmongold says things like all these people are going to get out of it because they're rich, he just pretends that Trump, would not apply to that, right? So that's going to be one of the aspects there.
Is BB. Why don't you type out like what your full point is instead of like typing autistically retarded questions that are trying to bait me into a point that you're probably not even correct on? Why don't you just type out exactly what you mean?
I'll say that.
He's trying to say that the insurance makes profit on the time value of money, i.e. investing premiums and earning profits on those before they have to ever disperse claims. Yeah, but we looked up their earnings, and that's just not true. So is he just typing shit that's incorrect into chat? Because he knows what a combined ratio is, or... Okay.
About your health insurance, insight with the history of it, give more context to your opinion as CEO? Yeah, I'm starting to understand. No doubt.
Sorry.
Reporters baiting? Yeah, sure. I think it's really good to talk about your health insurance, insight with the history of it, give more context to your opinion as CEO. Yeah, I'm starting to understand. No doubt.
No.
I mean, I actually think healthcare is one of those things that it's probably, like, it should be a top 3 issue for people, but I think that it's not, and it should be.
Let me ask you this about January 6th.
I wish you could be you have such potential. If you could be just...
You have such potential. That's not condescending at all.
Just non-biased.
Oh, God.
You hurt yourself so badly. I'm telling you.
Oh, God. He's about to glaze Trump for calling her out, even though she gave him the most fucking T-balled interview in the fucking universe. That's what he's about to do.
They deleted and destroyed all the evidence. Everyone knows
Oh, never mind. It's a different topic.
And you slough it off like it doesn't mean anything.
No, I'm just saying they deny it. That's all I'm saying.
Listen, if I did it, you would be standing up in that chair shouting at me. And you know what I'd do? I'd say, you got me. They have done something so illegal.
I don't know what this is about. It's about January 6th. Oh, God, not again.
Why? What do you mean? What's wrong with asking about January 6th? He staged an insurrection of the government.
Here we go.
If you go back 25 years ago, you had very little autism. Now you have it.
Lots of autism, guys. If you're watching it in this video.
I mean,
well, they say because they're better at identifying it.
1 in 100,000, and now it's 1 in 100.
The slogans.
That's a pretty bad number.
Childhood vaccines.
I mean, something is going on. I don't know if it's vaccines. Maybe it's chlorine in the water, right? People are looking at a lot of different things.
I think that
growing in the water.
There needs to be an investigation into the question that is a very big problem right now, is that why are kids so fucking retarded?
Yeah, I know he's saying it to be funny, but what are you talking about?
That's a really good point.
It's
holy shit. I think Asmongold should be the head of the...
Yeah, maybe it's because people watch Asmongold. This is so stupid because every bit of information that we have suggests that vaccines are not causing autism, and that's the implication here. And Asmongold is a fucking cocksucker, so he's not going to give any pushback. We know the reason why there's more people that have more, we'll say, disabilities that are being born. A big part of it's just because people we have a better understanding of how to identify it. That's part of it. We have a massively socially inept population because all we do is sit down and play on the computer and play video games. That sounds so old to say that. But what did people do 20, 30 years ago? They would go outside and they would play. What do people do now? They stay inside and they play games, right? We enjoy doing it more. That's why technology is great, but it's absolutely a factor. Another factor is probably because people are less healthy and they're having kids older. And that's going to create complications as well. Part of it's because people aren't getting the correct educational support before going into school. right? Like there are a lot of issues that people might have that can be prevented with like behavioral therapy, right? These are the reasons why. But Asmongold needs to guzzle Trump's cum, and he can't just give a pushback. So he's just going to make a silly little funny thing about how kids are stupid, even though he is one of the dumbest fucking people I've ever seen. It's insane.
Health and Human Services. We should be doing medical research into like things going on with children. Why didn't we ever? Holy fuck! I actually never considered that before. Is anybody looking into this right now? Is anybody looking into like children's health in the United States? Anybody even thought about this question before? Holy shit! I never even considered this because I thought we only looked into the health of like adults and like old people. I feel like yeah, damn, Jesus.
Is it because of vaccines?
Why is nobody talking about this, about children's health?
Chlorine in the water, food, the internet, anime, video games?
Anime.
I don't know. But there's a problem.
I don't know,
It's
guys.
a big problem. Huge problem.
I don't know, guys.
I don't think it's vaccines. That's stupid.
Wow. He got there eventually.
I don't think that he thinks that either.
Then why is he? He's been playing into the vaccine shit constantly. What do you mean you don't think that he thinks that? It's all he plays into.
The only people that think that are dumb.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. Fluoride? I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a fucking. What am I talking about? I don't know. I'm not a fucking scientist. I don't fucking know whether it's fluoride. It's probably not. But like, yeah, I don't think so.
Asmongold has this like weird way of like being completely normal in his beliefs, but then guzzling the cum of conservatives. Like I don't understand it. Like he'll sit there and he'll suggest in your mind that like this is a thing, and then he'll be like, well, no, I don't actually think it's a thing. He's just such a weird fucking guy.
Everything. So childhood vaccines have prevented about 4 million deaths around the world every year.
I think it's
So
great.
isn't
It's a lot.
I'm all for it. I think it's great. Hey, look, I'm not against vaccines. The polio vaccine is the greatest thing. If somebody told me to get rid of the polio vaccine, they're going to have to work real hard to convince me.
I think that's the vaccine that RFK says might have killed more people than saved people, I think, is the polio vaccine.
I think certain vaccines are incredible, but maybe some aren't. And if they aren't, we have to find out.
Everything. So
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, I was on
Love to see that. Yeah. I wouldn't
what was
doubt
this
it, but
podcast? He was sitting. I remember the positions of them.
Obviously, you have hit a
Sure, we have good.
I don't think they were in person. Why can't I find anything? Was it that? No. Oh, it might have been on Lex. Was it? Destiny, your revolving door analogy is flawed because although claims are paid, there is always a delay, and yearly all premiums are rebases to some constant expected payout. Okay, Echo, then how do you explain the fact that investment payoffs revenues seem to be so like 1% of revenue? Let me know when you have the answer to that. RFK, Lex Friedman. Oh, it was this. It was this.
This is what the researchers found.
Oh, wait, it might have been this right here.
They found that the vaccine was fake. They went to the Danish government and asked them to support this program, saying, we've saved 30 million kids from dying from diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis. The Danish government said, can you show us the data? And he couldn't. So the Danish government paid for a big study with Novo Nordisk, which is a Scandinavian vaccine company, in West Africa. And they went to West Africa and they looked at the DPP vaccine for 30 years of data.
Okay, this is for the DDP. I thought he had one. I thought he... Oh, let me see if I can find the polio one. I thought it was for polio. Transcript. Yes.
Yeah, here's the problem. The polio vaccine contained a virus called simian virus 40, SV40.
This was not in all of them, but
It's one of the most
also I don't think any long-term research has linked any of this to any long-term effects. I don't believe so, but
carcinogenic materials that is known to man. In fact, it's used now by scientists around the world to induce tumors in rats and guinea pigs in labs. But
your bullshit alarm should always go off when somebody references a specific thing that's used in a totally different context for a totally different thing, because method of delivery and dosing is without that information, you don't know anything about what's being said. But
it was in that vaccine. 98 million people who got that vaccine in my generation got it. And now you've had this explosion of soft tissue cancers in our generation that kill many, 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 many more people than polio ever did. So if you say to me that the polio vaccine was effective against polio, I would say yes. And if you said to me, did it kill more people, did it cause more deaths than avert, I would say, I don't know, because we don't have the data on that. So,
But let's.
okay, sorry. So he didn't make answers. If you ask him did the polio vaccine save more lives than it caused deaths, he doesn't say it probably caused. He says, I don't know if it saved more lives than it caused death. There you go. There's the specific claim.
Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to fact check RFK.
I think that the problem is that, so you're saying there's a chance? Well, yeah, of course, right? Of course you should look at vaccines. The entire issue is that, and this is the problem that happened with COVID, is that the people like they hold in high regard the what do you call it, like the conclusions of science, but when they should hold in regard is the process of science.
Always said by people that have no respect or value for actual scientific processes. There's this weird fetishization. It's called scientism, but it's so weird that, like, the idea that like the scientific process can replace all morality and all things, but then like the people that like talk about this obsession with scientific fact and process like don't adhere to it ever when it comes to any part of anything they talk about.
There are a lot of scientific experiments that are done, that have been done, that prove that cigarettes are good for you. Or they prove that, like all kinds of stupid things. Drinking Coca-Cola, doesn't hurt your teeth or something.
Wow, Paxam, thanks for 28 tier 1 subs.
Something like that. And these things, by the way, were paid for by the cigarette companies, and they were paid for by Coca-Cola. But that doesn't matter, right? Because you should be able to reproduce a study and create a result. I think that the whole context about like the idea of like settled science, very, very big mistake.
Oh, thank God. My favorite thing is just when people say things that are just like, nobody has thought about this before. Nobody has thought about this before. Like, oh my God, like everything should be open to scientific investigation. Like there shouldn't be any completely settled science. Thank you. That's so true. Does anybody ever forward these like streams to the retards that publish it on the board of what, like Nature or Lancet or any of these New England Journal of Medicine? Like, do any of these dipshits know about this? Like, is anybody talking about this over there? Is anybody in science talking about this? That there shouldn't be settled science and that we need to do more, that we need to like actually look at health about children? Has anybody contacted these people?
Huge mistake. Like how vaccines studies paid for by big pharmaceutical companies? Yeah, of course.
Crash out is real.
What does that even mean? Like,
what am I supposed to say? There's nothing to really say here at this point. I mean, it's just Asmongold saying dumb, obvious shit, and then Destiny having a goddamn meltdown, and then having a fucking meltdown on his chat. I mean, there's nothing else to really. We're here for the content at this point. We're here to goon, dude. We're just here to fucking. We're here to have fun.
Think about it for 1 second when you say that. Are vaccine studies paid for by big pharmaceutical companies? Yeah, of course they are. Who's going to pay? Who else is going to pay to try to see if your drug is going to go to market? Who should pay for it? Like, what does that even mean? Obviously, yes, it's going to be like, should the government, should the public pay for every single study testing the safety of a pharmaceutical drug? Why would I pay for his phase 3 trials when he stands to make all the money? Like, it doesn't even make sense what the objection is here, right?
Well, I mean, the implication is obviously that since they pay for it, they get the result that they want, even if it's not the correct result.
The issue should be, is it a good study, right, with soundness? Are the people that are doing the research, right? It's not like Pfizer does the study and they pay their own CEO and his son to go into a fucking lab and jerk off into a petri dish and then say, oh, look, the vaccine works, right? Who are the labs that are being contracted? Who are the researchers that are involved? Are the researchers like fucking employees of the company, whatever? You have to state financial or other conflicts of interest at the bottom of your research, and can other people replicate it? These are the important questions. It's not, does the pharmaceutical company pay for its own? Of course it does. Who the fuck else would pay for it? Like, it doesn't even make sense.
Like how vaccines studies paid for by big pharmaceutical companies? Yeah, of course. Of course you should be. Yeah, you weren't allowed to question the research without massive backlash.
Well, yes, you. Why do people? Give me the Twitter video. Give me that Twitter video. Give me the Twitter video of the lady. Who was it? Who was it? It wasn't on The Onion, right? Who was the lady? Give me the video. I need you to just have this on repeat. We should just spend like 8 hours a day just watching this video.
The whole impeachment thing was baseless, okay? So the Democrats claim that Trump pressured Ukraine into digging up dirt on the Biden family, and their only real evidence of that is a transcript of him doing it.
So what did he...
Kill me. I haven't even watched this video before. I'm sorry.
Pressured Ukraine into digging up dirt on the Biden family, and their only real evidence of that is a transcript of him doing it.
It feels so stupid talking about like the conservative conspiracies because it's like they're crazy conspiracies, like the whole electors thing and everything else. Like, what's the evidence? Well, like it's literally all of it is public. Like, what's the evidence? It's like the hundreds of hours of depositions under oath, of the documents that have been released, of the charges and convictions in state and federal courthouses, of the lack of denial from literally anybody involved. Like, what do you mean? Like, it's.
So what did he say on the transcript?
What transcript?
Well, you just mentioned a transcript.
Check your tape. I said no such thing.
You said the only real evidence was a transcript of Trump pressurizing Ukraine.
There's no such place as Ukraine.
True. Wait, where's the... Find me the other one, though. I haven't even watched all of her stuff. Hold on. It's this one. This is the meme. Every time Asmongold is like, no one is allowed...
Online.
What did he say? No one is allowed to talk about this.
The idea of like settled science, very, very big mistake. Huge mistake. Like how vaccines studies paid for by big pharmaceutical companies? Yeah, of course. Of course you should be, yeah, you weren't allowed to question the research without massive backlash. That's the reason, see, like this guy's bringing up a really good point, and I think this is what happened, is that, and this is also coming from a person that, so I never got the vaccine, but I'm not against it either. I'm in general, like just against any sort of like medical stuff. I'm very, very weird with medical stuff. I didn't get it. And basically, I would wear a mask. I could easily see, okay,
you weren't allowed to question any of it. It's this energy.
Conservative voices are being silenced. I said it on my YouTube channel. Conservative voices are being silenced. I said it on Joe Rogan. Conservative voices are being silenced. On the Jordan Peterson Kayak podcast. Conservative voices are being silenced.
I love her.
I said it on Tucker Carlson. And Tucker, we know conservative voices are being silenced. Twice, actually. Like I said last time, Tucker, conservative voices are being silenced.
That is exactly right.
And I said it in my New York Times bestseller. Conservative voices are being silenced.
You should wear a mask, right? You should social distance. You should do that. Yeah, for sure. So I'm a person that I listen to what scientists say because I think they know it better than I do. And how could I know it better than they do? I don't even know what I don't know, right? And
it's interesting because it's like very there's a lot of skepticism, like, oh, these they're paying for the research to be done, and the implication is there that you can't trust it at all. And he's like, but I do trust them. It's like you're all over the place. It's just weirdly, it sounds reasonable. It's like what he's saying is meant to sound really reasonable, but at the end of the day, it's going to be heard how it's going to be heard by different people. If you're an insane fucking conspiracy theorist and you listen to Asmongold, you're going to think that like he agrees with you on your insane conspiracy theory shit, and that any reasonable point that he makes is just him trying to make sure that he doesn't upset the matrix. But then if you're a reasonable person, you listen to some of the shit he says, like some of it's a little outlandish, but I kind of understand where he's coming from, and that's like the entire point of Asmongold talking. It's so bizarre.
No problem to do that, but at the same time, this is what really damaged a lot of the credibility. It's that nobody could ask questions or say, well, what about this?
Really? Really? That was really the case? Nobody could? That's so crazy.
Well, he's going to be referencing the fact that like YouTube would suppress your information if you were skeptical of the vaccine. And part of that is obviously because they were worried about people not getting vaccinated because it was very serious. Like COVID was very intense. But
because I feel like half the United States doesn't believe in fucking vaccines right now because all I heard was mainstream and alternative media constantly undermining vaccines and anything having to do with COVID. That's so crazy. I feel like I have a totally different recollection of U.S. history, and by history I mean over the past few years. It's just insane how that works, huh?
I mean, people are allowed to question 9/11. They're allowed to question whether, an election was rigged. They're allowed to...
Well, you can question anything you want now. We're not in the middle of the pandemic anymore, so like there's less like, you know what I mean, like COVID isn't really a threat anymore, so that you're allowed to question it now, but it was back then. But I understand the skepticism. I'm just saying that, like, that's why that happened.
Question whether JFK was killed by the CIA. They're allowed to question anything, but you can't question COVID. And
what?
And also, at the same time, a lot of the COVID research and like the people that are making these vaccines are private companies. If you tell people that they're not able to question the outcomes of private companies, you're going to have a bad time. Very, very bad time.
Cool.
Notice no one questioned Trump winning. They did. They absolutely did. For profit.
Wait, what?
They did.
What? Trump was the one who questioned. Trump was the one who questioned his own loss multiple times.
What did?
Notice no one questioned Trump winning. They did. They absolutely did.
Not to the same degree that Trump questioned his losing.
Okay.
For profit companies, yeah, exactly. Only test for 6 months. And I think that, again, expressing trepidation should not be met with like a platform ban. I got the vaccine. I have a rule. If I see people dying IRL, the problem is the internet with stupid ideas are able to grow in a fart chamber of the internet. Yeah, and like from my perspective with like COVID, I tried to just take a reasonable approach to it that a well-reasoned, rational person would take. I tried to stay away from people that I think, I could transmit it to. I tried to, like not touch things whenever I went out in public. I wore a mask because I thought it would maybe reduce the transmission. Like that logically made sense to me.
Yeah, because it does.
I feel like
it's just like the way, like I thought, like no, that's what would happen.
Sure. Yeah, of course I would do those things.
Okay.
I mean, I just, it's not like I like wouldn't see anybody or not do anything.
I do this.
But like, sure, of course. It's just like, yeah, it's just reasonable like reductions in risk. You still didn't wash your hands after peeing though? Yeah, but I did. I would actually go home. This sounds crazy, but I would actually wash my hands when I got home. And I would use soap.
This is your first interview since you won the election.
Congratulations.
Yes,
I hope
congratulations
you do well.
to you.
I hope you do well with it.
Yes.
I love how he says congratulations to the news station that he wins.
Okay.
Oh, man. Oh, God.
And, sir, I don't have to tell you this because you've talked about it. It comes at a time when the country is deeply divided. And now you're going to be leading this country for the next 4 years. For the sake of unifying this country, will you concede the 2020 election and turn the page on that chapter?
No. No. Why would I do that?
Oh, God.
Why is this funny to him?
He still thinks it's fucking rigged. Like, by the way, guys, it's funny. I don't think it was rigged. I never thought it was rigged. But holy shit.
Concede the 2020 election and turn the page on that chapter.
No. No. Why would I do that?
Oh,
Let me
God.
just say, when you say the country is deeply divided, I'm not the president. Joe Biden's the president.
But you're going to be the president.
No. I'm not the president. So when you say it's deeply divided, I agree. But Biden's the president. I'm not. And he has been a divider. And
No, he's not. He has not been a divider at any capacity.
you know where he divided it more than anything else, and it probably backfired on him? I think definitely is weaponization. When he weaponized the Justice Department and he went after his political opponent, me, he went after...
Didn't he, like... Trump, like, legitimately tried to do that. He tried to pressure Ukraine. He threatened to take away, like, their support. He threatened to withhold money from Ukraine. So unless they gave him opposition research on Biden, like that's something that like actually happened. He's so stupid when he says shit like this.
His political opponent.
I do think that the average person in the public sees that, and unless they are like kind of any average person sees that they're prosecuting Trump. Like this is if I was a Walmart American.
Like listen to this like fucking dipshit like start to go on like yeah like Trump says I didn't lose 20. And then it's like Trump being prosecuted for committing arguably some of the most disgusting crimes in all of U.S. history. I think that the average American looking at that, I think would be shocked and outraged and disgusted. And it's insane that there was so much political persecution of Donald Trump. Like,
I just fucking laugh. Jesus Christ.
I would see Hunter Biden.
Fucking yodeling is getting me. It's so stupid.
Who's playing Grand Theft Auto in real life.
Bro, Hunter Biden is a drug addict that is fucking, and he let his son off. Who gives a shit? I don't care. No real person cares about Hunter Biden. Just to be clear, nobody thinks that there's any real thing going on with Hunter Biden. Okay, they think that he's a fucking. They literally just think that he is a drug addict that fucks prostitutes. Nobody cares about like if you tell me that you think it, like what happened with Hunter Biden was like a huge issue. I know that you're not a real person and that like what you're saying is stupid. Because nobody actually cares. Nobody cares that a father let his son off. And like, well, all past and future crimes. You literally have Twitter full of shit that's trying to make it seem like Hunter Biden was having sex with like underage prostitutes just so they can go after him. Of course there's like a political thing going on. What are you talking about?
And I would see Trump. And I would say Trump's on trial. Trump's going to go to jail for a bunch of these things. And then Biden is Hunter Biden isn't. I mean, this is no.
Sorry, Hunter Biden fucked prostitutes and did drugs. Donald Trump incited an insurrection and then to use it as an opportunity to try to vote against the will of the people. So, or, implement electors that would vote against the will of the people. What are you talking about? Like, these are not even close to comparable. Are you stupid? I don't understand.
No, there's obviously some bullshit happening. You're too bright for the window? Am I? Ooh.
Violently because he knew he couldn't beat him. And I think it really was a bad thing. And it really
maybe it's when I turn towards here
divided our
because my
country.
forehead. Yeah, that's what it is. It's very hypocritical of Biden. Exactly. And I think
Not
that's
really.
the reason why a lot of people probably didn't take it seriously. Hunter was being prosecuted, what? Yeah, but like, let's be real. How else, like, what do you think the reason is? Here's the issue.
Like, you know that Hunter Biden was actually convicted of crimes as well, right? Like, does he know that? Is he aware of that? Or does he not? Maybe he just doesn't literally know a single thing about literally any of these things. Is he aware? Can he even fucking read? I'm not actually sure. I don't, maybe audiobooks at night. Or he's got somebody like feeding him information. Like,
if Hunter Biden was your average guy, do you think that he would be in jail?
No, because nobody would have even thought to fucking investigate him.
Hey, that's true. I mean, there's plenty of people that do fucking, there's plenty of people who are sitting here doing fucking drugs and fucking prostitutes.
The entire guy that kicked off the investigation of Hunter Biden, I think just today in court, like, pled guilty to lying. Who was the guy who literally kicked off the entire thing. Now remember, for one or two of the FISA warrants, it was enough to say the entire investigation was bullshit because somebody copy-pasted something on an email that he shouldn't have. It was enough to say that all the FISA stuff was absolutely fucking bullshit, even though that investigation started off legitimately because of stupid shit that was said by, not Scaramucci. It's on the tip of my brain in Australia. Fuck, what was the guy's name? I don't remember it. Papadopoulos. Alexander Smirnov, like, literally lied about every single thing that he told the FBI to start this Hunter Biden investigation. And we also know that Giuliani and Trump, this is what Trump was impeached for, literally made a phone call to Ukraine begging for information, okay? And asking Zelensky to make public statements about investigations when nothing had even been uncovered. We listened to the audio of Giuliani doing that. We literally listened to this phone call. So no, he wouldn't have been, because nobody would be investigating this.
With that much evidence of smoking crack and drinking and driving, would he be in jail?
Was he even charged with drinking and driving?
Everybody knows that. Everybody fucking knows that. And everybody knows why he's not.
And everybody knows drinking and driving is pretty cool, you know?
Like, you understand that on Joe Rogan's podcast, the FBI theoretically could go and arrest any person there or charge them with marijuana because it is a federal crime and they're smoking in the state of Texas. It might even be illegal in Texas still. Like what do we...
That's it. So you can't ask people to respect the justice system when that is right there in front of them.
And the reason is because I'm able to go on a show, even like yours, even though you're very hostile, I'm able to...
She's not hostile at all.
...to go on a show like yours. No, you are.
Well, hopefully you thought it was a fair interview. We covered a lot of policy ground.
Oh, I don't know why I watch this.
It's fair only in that you allowed me to say what I say, but, the answers, the questions are, pretty nasty. But look, because I've seen you...
What are the nasty questions about? What is he talking about?
...interview other people like Biden, and...
I've never interviewed President Biden.
He just fucking lies to her face. He just fucking...
I say you, I'm talking metaphorically.
Talking metaphorically. That makes so much sense.
I'm talking metaphorically.
Okay. I've seen George Stephanopoulos interview, but and he's a tough interviewer. It's the softest interview. I've seen CNN interview him. They give these soft, what's your favorite ice cream? It's a whole different deal. I don't understand why. You would think the press would like to see strong borders, great education, a powerful military, so we have a country left, and all these different things.
Yeah.
And somehow they don't want to see that. And the reason is because
Yep.
He's just totally right. It was just such an unfair interview. She's obviously baiting him and setting him up the entire time.
Different interviewer, move on? Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. I think that's pretty much... Is that all of them? Yes, I believe that is all of them. Oh, God. Yeah, I think it's going to be crazy if he undoes the birthright citizenship. I wonder how they're going to do that.
They're probably not. I think that Trump has a knack for saying things he'll get done that are completely unreasonable to get done, and that's why he's generally pretty ineffective. He ran his first election. He ran on repealing and replacing the Affordable Care Act. He couldn't do it in any meaningful capacity at all. He ran on trying to deal with the problems at the border. He couldn't do anything. He didn't do anything. He tried to rule through executive order. He didn't get anything done. I mean, he just says outlandish shit that sounds nice. It'll never get implemented. He's dumb as fucking dog shit.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's ineffective as a leader.
No, it's common sense stuff. Oh, well, a lot of things I think are.
Wow.
Yeah, and her eyes make me uncomfortable. I don't think it's that big of a deal, right? I mean, I usually don't even think about that. But sure, I'd be pissed if nobody asked me what my favorite ice cream is. Yeah, true. What about forced Christianity? I think that students should learn in school. I think you should learn about all of the Abrahamic religions. You should learn about Islam. You should learn about Christianity. And you should also learn about Judaism. And I think also you should learn about Hinduism and Chinese, like Buddhism.
I mean, it's not a bad idea to have like a history of religions class, sure.
I think you should learn about all that.
How about we like learn how to do our fucking taxes first, and then we learn about the fucking 3 branches of government? What the fuck is the school that Asmongold suggesting?
Yeah.
We're gonna be doing PE half the day, and then the other half we're gonna be doing a study of every single fucking Also, just to be clear, people that say this shit, they don't even fucking mean it. When they say you should have to learn all the religions, no, you don't mean that. You don't mean learn the history of all of them. What you mean is that they should be taught the beliefs of all of them, which is also bullshit. I don't need fucking schools to be teaching us, like, what do Muslims believe? What fairy tales do Christians believe? What fairy tales do Jews believe? No, if you want to fucking indoctrinate your kid with that retarded shit at home, do that at home. I don't want to waste my fucking time in school. And it's not even worth the history. The fucking history of the Catholic Church, the history of Islam. How about we like fucking teach people?
Well, yeah, but maybe you want to learn how to correctly molest children and get away with it. That's what I would really like to learn about religion, personally.
How to do their
that would be why I think we should learn about religion personally.
Fucking taxes, and then let's learn some actual fucking world history. Like maybe we can have like 2 paragraphs on South America, for instance, or maybe like a couple paragraphs on at least Northern Africa, right? Or learn that there was like more than 1.5 fronts for, you know, Germany to fight on for World War II. Or learn like there are a ton of things that we can learn in school before having to do an overview of the beliefs of all of the major fucking religions.
You should learn about it from the perspective of having an educated viewpoint on the way that people in the world will see the world.
Seeing as how so many people believe in them, I feel like it is beneficial to teach the very basics of religions to kids in school. It's basic life knowledge. What a Hindu/Muslim/Christian is, it's absolutely not. And by the way, there's absolutely no fucking class that you could make to summarize the beliefs of any of these people. Because even these fucking retards will literally fight amongst themselves over what their religions even fucking
Jesus Christ
believe in. So what if you give a class on Christianity, is it going to be from a Catholic perspective, or is it going to be from a Protestant perspective, or are you going to try to cover the Catholic perspective and then also go through all the different forms of Protestantism? Like no, you never.
Yeah, I guess it's a good point. Yeah, seems like a big waste of time.
No, fuck that. I don't want to waste a fucking time. If people want to study religion, do that shit on your own. If you want to incorporate history, religious history as part of your history class or something, like, oh, these were the caliphates, or this was the expansion of the Catholic Church in the Dark Ages, or this is fucking Israel or whatever bullshit, then go for that. But the actual like theological beliefs, learn that shit in church. What a waste of time. Time would be better spent reading Harry Potter. So there's no value in Judeo-Christian moralism other than being the literal foundation for Western jurisprudence. First of all, less than 1% of Christians have even read the Bible cover to cover. My guess is less than 10% of Christians have read a single one of the Gospels cover to cover. I say cover to cover, it's like just one of the Gospels. So no, why the fuck would I want to waste time teaching some boring ass shit that even the adherents of the religion won't bother reading to kids in school? Fuck that shit. Learn the law.
All right, well, that's over. Incredible.